Chapter 1228. Bring up Zhou Jiejia's file. Let me have a look. After Li Buliang left, the name Zhou Jiejia was hovering in Xiaoqing's mind. She felt more and more familiar, as if she had heard it before. However, she had been busy these days. Xiaoqing couldn't remember where she had heard this name, but she was not relieved. She always felt that this name seemed to represent something, so she asked Sun Dimeo to bring up Zhou Jiejia's student file. The computer science department naturally had the right to access all the student files in the computer science department, but it could only be the computer science department. Xiaoqing naturally had no right to access students from other departments. Oh. Sun Dimeo was slightly stunned. He was surprised that Xiaoqing would suddenly pay attention to a student. Just now, when Li Buliang came to recommend Zhou Jiejia to participate in the research and development project, Sun Dimeo was still very angry with Li Buliang's insensitivity. He mentioned this in front of the department's director. If Sun Dimeo were to cheat and be seen by Xiaoqing, it would be bad. If Sun Dimeo found him privately, maybe Sun Dimeo could help Li Buliang. However, Sun Dimeo didn't expect that Xiaoqing would ask him to bring up this student's file. However, since Xiaoqing requested it, Sun Dimeo was naturally duty-bound. He quickly logged into the university's internet database, entered his username and password, and entered the student archive. It was easy to search for the freshman Zhou Jiejia's information file. Director Xiao, this is Zhou Jiejia's student file. Sun Dimeo pointed to the student file on the computer screen in front of him. Zhou Jiejia's photo was very cute. There were 2 small dimples on her sweet smiling face. Sun Dimeo praised in his heart. She is really a beautiful little girl. No wonder Li Buliang is so attentive. It seems that Li Buliang wants to find her to be his girlfriend. If there is a chance, I have to help Li Buliang matchmake. A student in the first-year class. Xiaoqing was slightly stunned. Isn't this Yang Ming's opposite class? In fact, the opposite class in the university was the same as the same class. There was no difference. The classes and extracurricular activities were all carried out together. Even the teachers were a set of people. They were usually in the same classroom, and there was no exception even during exams. Looking at Zhou Jiejia's appearance, Xiaoqing was even more convinced. She finally remembered who this Zhou Jiejia was. Last time, when she met Yang Ming at the restaurant with Sun Jia, Zhou Jiejia was among them. Xiaoqing also learned about Zhou Jiejia's story from Yang Ming. This was a girl who was willing to risk her life for her lover. She could even sacrifice herself to block the bullet for Yang Ming. This made Xiaoqing feel grateful and admired her from the bottom of her heart. It's her. However, this Zhou Jiejia is actually interested in wireless technology. This is a very novel thing. If Zhou Jiejia was really interested in this aspect, it would be a good opportunity. Although Xiaoqing was Yang Ming's god-sister, she didn't expect to be able to walk together with Yang Ming openly one day. However, she still somewhat hoped that her identity would be recognized, even if it was just a small recognition. Aziz that if Zhou Jiejia was really interested in computer technology, she believed that with her knowledge, she would definitely get Zhou Jiejia's recognition quickly. If there was such a day, she could integrate into Yang Ming's small circle. Then, Zhou Jiejia would definitely support her. Xiaoqing had never thought about having a harem war or seizing power. It was her greatest wish to get a small recognition among Yang Ming's women. So when she thought of this, Xiaoqing said to Sun Dimeo, "This Zhou Jiejia, how is her professional course results?" Sun Dimeo quickly opened Zhou Jiejia's transcript and found that Zhou Jiejia's professional course results in the previous semester were actually excellent. This made Sun Dimeo very surprised. As a matter of fact, the university was a place where one could get a score of 600. Especially for freshmen who had just experienced the torment of the college entrance examination, it was the semester that they were most unwilling to study. It was rare for a girl like Zhou Jiejie to get such an impressive result in her professional course. Especially in the compilation class, she actually got a high score of 150 points. This made Xiaoqing a little surprised. Although there weren't many students who got 100 points, there were still a few. However, it wasn't surprising. After all, most of the things on the paper were from the books. As long as one listened to the class and read the books carefully, they would get good results. Including the programming questions at the back of the paper, they were all examples of programs that had ready-made answers in the books. As long as one memorized them, they could pass smoothly. However, to get 150 points, it meant that the experimental class results also got a perfect score of 50 points. Generally, the school's programming exam would have experimental questions. The students were required to write a program designed by themselves. This kind of question didn't have a standard answer. It was entirely up to the students to create. As long as the written program could be successfully debugged, it was considered correct. Such additional questions were actually open for those students who had real talent and weren't willing to memorize by rote. Some smarter students learned programming very well, but they weren't willing to memorize some conceptual things. In this way, as long as the program was written correctly, the score on the paper only needed to be 10 points, and the total score would be enough to pass. This kind of exam was more humane. But generally, no one would do this kind of question. After all, assembly was a very difficult programming language to learn. It was much more difficult to understand than C language. Especially this time, the question was more unusual. The students were asked to design a program to copy and read the entire floppy disk under DOS. Most students gave up on the experimental question. After all, for this kind of program, not only did you have to provide the compiled program, but you also had to provide the complete program code. The teacher who reviewed it was also stricter. If it was plagiarized, it would be seen directly. Not only did Zhou Jiejie write such a program, but the program also supported copying of special tracks and weak sectors while supporting copying of ordinary disks. In other words, Zhou Jiejie's program could copy some software so-called key disk. For example, many antivirus software in the early days used the encryption method of the floppy disk key disk. Although later, when the encryption and decryption technology developed to its peak, the floppy disk encryption had been abandoned by many manufacturers. The floppy disk encryption technology was no longer the top technology and was publicized. However, Zhou Jiejie, a freshman student, could actually write such a comprehensive program, which really surprised Xiaoqing. Sun Dimeo, who was on the side, was also shocked. He slammed the table and said, "Is this student a genius?" Originally, Sun Dimeo thought that Li Buliang wanted to pick up girls, so he pulled Zhou Jiejie to participate in the research and development project. Now it seemed that this Zhou Jiejie was indeed a real talent. Director Xiao, it seems that this Zhou Jiejie is the same as you. She is also a female hero in our computing world. Sun Dimeo praised Zhou Jiejie and flattered Xiaoqing without leaving any trace. Xiaoqing didn't have time to listen to his flattery. Xiaoqing originally just wanted to bring Zhou Jiejie to participate in the research project to deepen their relationship. But now, Xiaoqing changed her original intention. She really wanted Zhou Jiejie to participate in the research and development project together. This kind of student with the spirit of research was a very rare talent. Her future achievements would definitely not be underestimated. Thinking of this, Xiaoqing said, "Let this student also participate in our research project." "I think so, too." Sun Dimeo's idea was the same as Xiaoqing's. He also wanted to go through the back door to help Li Buliang. Now it seemed that this Zhou Jiejie was really a talent. It was a pity that she didn't participate in the research project. So, you find Li Buliang and inform him. Let him report directly to the computer science faculty building. He doesn't even have to participate in the interview. Xiao Qing said until here. She paused and thought about it. Forget it. I will inform him personally. Okay. Sun Dimeo nodded. Sun Dimeo wanted to give Li Buliang face and let him know that he was working hard here. So, Li Buliang would work harder for him in the future. However, if Xiao Qing wanted to inform him personally, this opportunity would be gone. However, Sun Dimeo thought about it again. Xiao Qing informing Zhou Jiejie wouldn't delay him from informing Li Buliang. Anyway, it was a foregone conclusion that Zhou Jiejie would participate in the research project. Wasn't it the same who informed her? Thinking of this, Sun Dimeo decided to call Li Buliang in a while and tell him the good news. Xiao Qing left Sun Dimeo's office and returned to her own office. Sun Dimeo picked up the phone and dialed Li Buliang. Li Buliang had just finished the graduate student registration. He was so tired that he was sweating. He glanced at the time. It was almost 1 o'clock. He quickly ran to the cafeteria. If he was late, there would be no food. Suddenly, the phone rang. Li Buliang took out the phone and glanced at it. He found that it was Deputy Director Sun in the department. He quickly picked up the phone. Deputy Director Sunday, Li Buliang, where are you? Sun Dimeo asked with a smile. I am going to the cafeteria to eat. Li Buliang didn't know why Sun Dimeo called him at this time, but his intuition told him that it was probably related to his reckless behavior in his office before. Li Buliang, you are not young anymore. Why are you still so impatient? Before Sun Dimeo said this, he naturally had to teach Li Buliang a lesson. If today's incident was not accidental, this Zhou Jiejie would not be able to participate in the research project. I'm sorry, Deputy Director Sun. Li Buliang listened. It was really about his incident today. He quickly apologized, I have caused you trouble. I didn't know that Director Xiao would be in your office at that time. Okay, it's good that you know. Sun Dimeo sighed. Director Xiao and I are researching. You should find a chance to talk to me privately about this matter. I know, Deputy Director Sunday. I won't do it next time. Li Buliang said quickly. Li Buliang, tell me privately. Did you pat your chest and make a promise to the female classmate? Do you have that kind of feeling for her? Asked Sun Dimeo. How could it be? Li Buliang was exposed, and he was embarrassed. Director Sun, Zhou Jiejie is indeed a computer enthusiast, and her skills are excellent, I know this. I have seen Zhou Jiejie's exam results last semester. They are all excellent. Sun Dimeo said, let me tell you. Director Xiao has agreed to let Zhou Jiejie participate in the research of the wireless protocol. Really? Li Buliang thought that there was no hope. At this moment, when he heard Sun Dimeo, he was overjoyed. Director Sun, thank you so much. Hee, okay, you don't have to thank me. Don't be impatient in doing things in the future. Sun Dimeo was proud. It was so easy to buy people's hearts. Li Buliang would definitely be more obedient in the future. I won't. You can rest assured, Director. Li Buliang promised. Okay, you go and eat. I have other things to do. Sun Dimeo said, you tell Zhou Jiejie to come to the computer science faculty building and report directly. She doesn't have to participate in the interview. She was admitted as an exception. Well, I will inform Zhou Jiejie now. Li Buliang said happily. After hanging up the phone, Li Buliang dialed Zhou Jiejie's phone number ecstatically. In this way, he could brag about his credit in front of Zhou Jijia. He believed that Zhou Jijia would definitely admire him. However, at the same time, Xiao Qing was talking to Zhou Jijia, so Li Buliang dialed a few times, but it didn't go through. Zhou Jijia was still on the phone, so Li Buliang had to give up. He planned to call again later and finish eating first. Zhou Jijia's phone number was written in the computer science faculty's contact list. Xiao Qing didn't spend much effort to find Zhou Jijia's number and dialed Zhou Jijia directly. Zhou Jijia had just finished eating. She was walking on the playground with Qin Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Jing Xiaolu. Zhou Jijia's phone rang. She took it out and found that it was an unfamiliar number. Zhou Jijia was a bit puzzled, but she still picked up the phone. "Hello? Is this Zhou Jijia?" Xiao Qing asked. She had to confirm Zhou Jijia's identity first. After all, the contact list was made during the freshman year. After such a long time, many students had changed their mobile phone numbers. "Yes, you are," Zhou Jijia asked, baffled. The other party was a woman with a pleasant voice, but Zhou Jijia didn't remember knowing such a person. "I am Xiao Qing, the director of the computer science faculty," Xiao Qing said calmly. "Ah. Director Xiao, hello." Zhou Jijia was subconsciously shocked. She didn't expect the director of the computer science faculty to call her personally. This made Zhou Jijia somewhat flattered. "I heard that you want to participate in our wireless protocol research project. Is that so?" asked Xiao Qing. Yes. Zhou Jijia quickly replied, "Director Xiao, do I have a chance to participate?" Zhou Jijia, when she heard Xiao Qing's call personally, had a hunch, so she was very excited at the moment. "I saw your exam results last semester and saw the disk copy program you wrote using Hui. It was very good, so I decided to let you participate in our wireless protocol research project," said Xiao Qing. "Thank you, Director Xiao." This kind of twists and turns and the feeling of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel made Zhou Jijia very happy. "I will cherish this opportunity with all my heart. In the afternoon, come to the computer science faculty building and report to my office," said Xiao Qing. "My office is on the 3rd floor. If you can't find me, you can also call this phone number. This is my cell phone number." "Okay, I will be there in a while." Zhou Jijia was really happy. She could finally participate in the customization of the network protocol. This was a very rare opportunity. "Jijia, what's wrong with you? Why are you so excited after receiving a phone call?" Chen Mengyan looked at Zhou Jijia curiously and asked. "Mengyan, it's Director Xiao of our department. She just called me to inform me that she wants me to participate in a research project. This is a very rare opportunity. Of course, I am happy." Zhou Jijia said excitedly, "Previously, I went to sign up in the morning, but the person who received me said that this research project only recruited graduate students or doctoral students, not undergraduate students. Later, the person who received me asked the department for my opinion and said that it was not possible. I thought that there was no hope, but just now, our department director called me personally. It really surprised me." "Oh. So that's the case." Chen Mengyan nodded. She also knew that Zhou Jijia was particularly interested in computer-related things, so she said, "Then, congratulations to you. And I will report to her office in a while." Zhou Jijia nodded. "Right, you just said Director Xiao of your department?" Chen Mengyan suddenly thought of something and asked. "Yeah, what's wrong?" Zhou Jijia looked at Chen Mengyan's somewhat strange expression and asked. Hee, I was wondering why you were allowed to participate after being rejected before." Chen Mengyan covered her mouth and laughed. "What's wrong?" "Mengyan, do you know the reason? Zhou Jie asked, puzzled. Chen Mengyan said halfway and suddenly saw Jing Xiaolu next to her. She quickly stopped and said, let's talk about it later. Jing Xiaolu naturally saw that Chen Mengyan wanted to say some secret things that could only be shared between the sisters. Jing Xiaolu was still an outsider, so she couldn't say it to her. Although Jing Xiaolu felt a little sour in her heart, she still smiled understandingly and said, Jie, Mengyan, Xiyun, I will go first. I still have classes in the afternoon, so I have to go back to the dormitory to prepare. After lunch, Jing Xiaolu was familiar with the relationship between the three of them. She was already satisfied. Things always had a gradual process. She didn't expect Chen Mengyan and the others to accept her as one of them now. And then you go quickly. Chen Mengyan, Zhou Jie, and Lin Jiyun said goodbye to Jing Xiaolu affectionately. Chapter 12:29. After Jing Xiaolu left, Zhou Jie hurriedly asked, Sister Mengyan, can you say it now? Zhou Jie was smart. She naturally knew that Chen Mengyan didn't want Jing Xiaolu to hear the conversation between them. Of course. Chen Mengyan smiled mysteriously. Your dean is called Xiaoqing, right? Yeah. How do you know? Zhou Jie continued to ask. Because she is Yang Ming's god-sister. Chen Mengyan covered her mouth and smiled. She must know your relationship with Yang Ming, so she made an exception to let you join. Zhou Jie thought that Xiaoqing's name was familiar. She guessed that she was Yang Ming's god-sister. When she heard what Chen Mengyan said at the moment, it was true. She suddenly blushed. It seemed that Chen Mengyan was right. She was accepted as an exception. Perhaps it was because of her good grades, but if it wasn't because Xiaoqing knew that she was Yang Ming's girlfriend, she probably wouldn't pay attention to her in her busy schedule, let alone investigate her file. Sister Mengyan, don't talk nonsense. Yang Ming will definitely not talk about the things between me and him. In the eyes of outsiders, he only has you as his girlfriend. Zhou Jie lowered her head and said embarrassedly. Sister Xiaoqing is not an outsider. Chen Mengyan smiled. She also knows about Lan Ling's matter. Although she said it with a smile, Chen Mengyan still felt a little sad when she said this. It wasn't that Chen Mengyan was still petty, but she was annoyed that Yang Ming actually found another girl when they were at odds. Chen Mengyan, Zhou Jie, and Lin Jiyun all talked about Lan Ling's matter. They also knew about the existence of such a person. When they heard Chen Mengyan say that Xiaoqing knew a lot of things, they couldn't help but be slightly surprised. A god-sister, not a biological sister, knew so many things. It seemed that the relationship between Yang Ming and her should be very good. Even so, they didn't think too much about it. After all, Xiaoqing's identity was there. She was the dean of the computer science department. In their opinion, it was impossible for her to have any abnormal relationship with Yang Ming. Then, after I meet her, won't it be very awkward? Zhou Jie was a little timid. No, you can do whatever you want. Do you want me to accompany you? Chen Mengyan saw Zhou Jie's cautious look, so she asked. That's great, but, is that really okay? Zhou Jie thought about it and felt that it was not good to let Chen Mengyan accompany her. If Xiaoqing saw it, what would she think? What if the other party really didn't accept her because she was her god-brother's girlfriend? Wouldn't that be self-defeating? I think, you should go by yourself. I was just joking to cheer you on. Chen Mengyan also felt that it wasn't good for her to accompany Zhou Jie. It seemed that she was deliberately promoting something. Then I'll go by myself. Zhou Jie pursed her lips. I don't think it's good either. In front of the computer science faculty building, Zhou Jie, Chen Mengyan, and Lin Jiyun parted ways and ran upstairs. It was lunch break now. The graduate students who had come here to register had left to eat lunch and rest. Just as she entered the faculty building, Zhou Jie's phone rang again. Zhou Jie quickly left the faculty building. The faculty building was empty now. The ringtone of the phone was harsh. It was particularly clear in the quiet building, so if Zhou Jie wanted to answer the phone, she could only retreat outside. Hello. Zhou Jie picked up the phone. Zhou Jie. I'm Li Buliang. Li Buliang's voice came from the phone. Oh. It's Senior Li, hello. Zhou Jie said politely. Zhou Jie also understood Li Buliang's thoughts. This kind of person couldn't give too many hints. She had to keep a distance at all times so that he wouldn't misunderstand. Jie. Can I call you Jie? Do you know? The department has approved your application to participate in the wireless protocol research. Li Buliang said excitedly, you know, I spent a lot of effort to persuade Deputy Director Sunday. He also agreed. In a while, you can report to the faculty building in the department. You don't even need to go through an interview. You are directly admitted. You. Just call me Zhou Jie. Only my family calls me Jie. I'm not used to others calling me that. Zhou Jie softly refused. I can participate in the research. Thank you, Senior Li, but Director Xiao has called me personally and told me to report. I have already arrived at the faculty building. Ah. Director Xiao called you. Li Buliang didn't care about the title of Zhou Jie and Jie at this time. When he heard that Director Xiao had called Zhou Jie directly, Li Buliang was shocked. Then, wouldn't my previous shameless lies be exposed all of a sudden? Thinking of this, Li Buliang suddenly blushed. So it's like this. It seems that Director Xiao still values you. Right, Deputy Director's son also said that your grades last semester were good. This is the important reason why you are admitted. Of course, my lobbying and recommendation are only one aspect. The most important thing is still to rely on your own grades and ability. Zhou Jie smiled faintly. Zhou Jie was not angry with Li Buliang's lame lie because Li Buliang was completely an outsider. Zhou Jie would listen to whatever he said. As for whether he lied or not, what did it have to do with Zhou Jie? Thank you very much, Senior Li, but I am going to enter Director Zhao's office soon. Let's talk next time, said Zhou Jie. That's good, then let's talk next time. Li Buliang hung up the phone and suddenly felt a little discouraged. He felt that he was still a step too late. How could I let Director Xiao call Zhou Jie first? If I called before this, then wouldn't I be able to have the first impression? Now that Director Xiao had made the first impression, he didn't have any credit for it. This time, the hero saving the beauty didn't play out well. Li Buliang was very depressed. It seemed that he could only find the next opportunity. Brotherly, what's wrong with you? Next to Li Buliang, a cool man who was dressed very fashionably patted Li Buliang's shoulder and asked, "Why are you so down? You seem to have encountered some setbacks." Jiang Naigang. Li Buliang looked up and saw the man next to him. It's nothing, he. Brotherly, aren't you obviously not treating me as a brother? Your business is my business. Jiang Naigang was full of admiration for Li Buliang. The matter originated from the company run by his father. There was a very important encrypted account book. The accountant added a password, but this accountant had a car accident and was admitted to the hospital. The doctor said that it would take half a year at the earliest to wake up. This made Jiang Naigang's father, Jiang Fugue, anxious. There were many customers' arrears in the account book. If it couldn't be opened, the company would be finished. Even if it could be opened after half a year, there would be a shortage of funds in this half a year, which would bring immeasurable losses to the company. Jiang Naigang knew that his roommate, Li Buliang, was a computer master and the president of the school's computer association, so Jiang Naigang took the initiative to recommend Li Buliang to his father, Jiang Fugue. Jiang Fugue was a computer idiot. In fact, this kind of password cracking was not particularly difficult. As long as he went to a professional computer data recovery center, it could also be solved. It was just that Jiang Fugue thought that the computer was too mysterious, so he didn't think about consulting the people in Computer City. Listening to his son, his roommate was the president of the school's computer association. This name was quite big. Jiang Fugue took the attitude of treating a dead horse as a living one and brought Li Buliang to the company. Li Buliang looked at the encrypted account file. It was a file in the RAR format. The password of this type of compressed file could only be cracked by brute force. There was no other backdoor. Fortunately, the accountant's password was only an 8-digit birthday password, which was 8 numbers. Li Buliang used cracking software to crack it in just a few hours. Jiang Fugue didn't know the length of the encryption password. He only knew that Li Buliang solved his problem, so he respected Li Buliang like a celestial being. He also told his son, Jiang Naigang, to learn more from Li Buliang. Although Jiang Naigang also played computer games, he didn't know anything about decryption, so he also admired Li Buliang. He often invited Li Buliang to visit his home. Shou Jiejie, you are here. Please sit down. Shao Qing pointed to the sofa next to her. Director Shao, I didn't disturb your rest. Seeing that Shao Qing was sleeping and was woken up by her, Shou Jiejie suddenly felt a little apologetic. It's okay. I was a little tired these days, so I lay down for a while. Shao Qing smiled, Shou Jiejie. And I will call you Jiejie, okay? Okay. Shou Jiejie nodded happily. Although she had just told Li Buliang that she wasn't used to people other than her family calling her Jiejie, Shou Jiejie had subconsciously regarded Shao Qing as a family. Yang Ming's godsister was Shou Jiejie's godsister. Naturally, they were a family. And, Jiejie, I saw your last semester's results. They were really good, especially the disk copy program. Not only can it perform normal disk copy, but it can also copy encrypted tracks. It uses a lot of edge technologies. Many professors in our university aren't as good as you in these things. Shao Qing praised sincerely. Although Shao Qing also studied encryption and decryption for a while when she was in school, she didn't continue to study it in depth. After all, Shao Qing was now studying some formal technologies. In terms of encryption and decryption, she wasn't Shou Jiejie's opponent. But in terms of academics, she was much better than Shou Jiejie. It's all some unorthodox things. Shou Jiejie smiled embarrassedly. However, what I'm good at is also these hacking technologies. I have never participated in the customization of network protocols. I heard that our university is actually leading the research on the domestic wireless protocol standards. I was very happy, so I came to sign up. I heard that only graduate students were recruited. I thought that there was no hope. I didn't expect Director Shao to accept me. Actually, I heard Yang Ming talk about you. Shao Qing suddenly changed her previous businesslike attitude and blinked at Shou Jiejie. But Yang Ming didn't say that you were interested in computing. Otherwise, I would have brought you along if there were these topics to study. Ah. Director Shao, you know. Shou Jiejie's face turned red. Previously, Shou Jiejie listened to Shao Qing's words. She thought that Shao Qing really accepted her because of her good grades and skills. It turned out that there was really a relationship with Yang Ming. You can also call me Sister Shao Qing. Xiao Qing smiled and said, "You saved Yang Ming and almost sacrificed yourself. How can I not know this? I'm really grateful to you. That's what I should do, and I'm also a busybody. With Yang Ming's skill, he should be able to dodge that shot. I'm superfluous, and I brought such a big burden to Yang Ming." Zhou Jiejie sighed and said with some emotion. These words were indeed her heartfelt words. It was just that she didn't say it to anyone, including Qin Mengyan and Lin Jiyun. Now that Xiao Qing was in front of her, she was like a loving big sister next door. Zhou Jiejie couldn't help but speak out her own thoughts. Zhou Jiejie later learned about Yang Ming's skill. Therefore, Zhou Jiejie thought about the situation at that time. Yang Ming really didn't need her to block the shot. It was just that she couldn't ask Yang Ming about these words, and Yang Ming wouldn't admit it. And she couldn't say it to Qin Mengyan. Zhou Jiejie was afraid that after she said it, Qin Mengyan would feel that she was with Yang Ming. Therefore, Zhou Jiejie didn't dare to. "You can't say that." Xiao Qing waved her hand. "Yang Ming's skill is great. This is a fact, but there are always accidents. Maybe if you didn't block the shot for him at that time, the shot would have hit him. Even if he can avoid it, your kind intentions are still precious." "Thank you, Sister Xiao Qing." Zhou Jiejie smiled happily. "After listening to your words, my heart feels a lot better." "Well, don't think so much," Xiao Qing said. "In the future, it will be very tiring to participate in the research team. You may not be able to go home at night. You live with Yang Ming, right?" "Ah." Zhou Jiejie was blushed by Xiao Qing's question, but she still nodded. "I live with Meng Yan and the others. Yang Ming sometimes comes back to live, I guessed it." Xiao Qing smiled. "You may have to live on campus in the future. Is that okay?" "This is okay. I will live in the dormitory." Zhou Jiejie nodded. "It's not the dormitory. It's living in the laboratory." Xiao Qing said, "The research and development may be day and night. It may be black and white reversed. In short, if you are tired, rest for a while. If you are not tired, go to work." "Oh. Wouldn't that be living with a lot of boys?" Zhou Jiejie was shocked and asked quickly. "To be honest, in this research team, except for me, a woman, the others are all boys." Xiao Qing smiled. "But you can live with me. I have a separate lounge." "That's good." Zhou Jiejie breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. She naturally agreed to live with Xiao Qing. Xiao Qing was Yang Ming's godsister. Zhou Jiejie also wanted to have a good relationship with her. Chapter 1230. After letting Zhou Jiejie fill in the form, Xiao Qing gave Zhou Jiejie the laboratory access card. After completing the formalities, Xiao Qing enthusiastically took Zhou Jiejie to visit the laboratory. "Sister Xiao Qing, I didn't expect our school's laboratory to be so advanced." Zhou Jiejie looked at the experimental equipment in the laboratory with emotion. If you like, you can come over at any time," Xiao Qing said with a smile. "Right. Sister Xiao Qing, I may really need to borrow the equipment here." Zhou Jiejie suddenly thought of the mobile phone that Yang Ming gave her to decrypt. The computers and equipment in her dormitory and home couldn't meet the decryption requirements. If she were to repurchase it, it would be very troublesome. Not to mention whether some military-grade items could be bought. Even if they could be bought, the approval process would be quite cumbersome. However, the university's laboratory didn't have this restriction. The purchase of equipment in the laboratory was easier to be approved. After all, it was a scientific research base. "That's not a problem. I will talk to the teacher in the laboratory in a while. You can come directly." Xiao Qing agreed readily. And, if I have something I don't understand, I will ask you for advice. Zhou Jiejie saw that Xiao Qing agreed and was very happy. After Jing Xiaolu returned to the dormitory, she couldn't help but excitedly tell Gu Xinyao about the previous encounter. Sister Xinyao, tell me. What I did was right, right? You. Gu Xinyao listened to Jing Xiaolu's words and was a little dumbfounded. However, this kind of accidental encounter was hard to come by. Jing Xiaolu didn't do it deliberately, so she couldn't find any fault. However, Gu Xinyao was a little worried. Lin Jiyun is fine. She is a very easy girl to get along with, but Chen Mengyan is very smart. You must not let her see any clues. If she knows that you have a purpose in contacting them, then the matter between you and Yang Ming will be even more difficult. I know. You can rest assured, Sister Xinyao. I'm not stupid. How can I let her see anything? Jing Xiaolu said, besides, there is really nothing between me and Yang Ming now. When there is really something, it's not too late to take precautions. You. I really don't know what to say to you. Gu Xinyao shook her head. I always feel that you are biting off more than you can chew and expecting too much. Every woman around Yang Ming has their own characteristics and strengths, and they all have an unusual story with Yang Ming. And you? Why, Sister Xinyao? Am I that bad? Jing Xiaolu asked. Yang Ming must have some opinions on you. Explained Xinyao explained. Yang must have some opinion. Calm. Sister Xinyao, you still don't know me. It's true that I have a few partners, but I'm not stupid enough to go to bed with them. I'm also a virgin. As Jing Xiaolu said this, she was still proud. When I was in the bar, I confessed to Yang Ming. He already knows that I'm a virgin now. Gu Xinyao looked at Jing Xiaolu's appearance and said helplessly, well, even so, I don't think there is much hope. I'm not discouraging you. I think it's enough for you to find a boy who is down to earth and treats you well. Sister Xinyao, what do you mean? Didn't you find Bai Hai to be your boyfriend because of vanity? If it weren't for Brother Yang's words, maybe Bai Hai, that kid, would have already dumped you. Jing Xiaolu exposed. Jing Xiaolu was right. Bai Hai did want to get rid of Gu Xinyao in the beginning. Now, Bai Hai was the security manager of the community property. He was also a small leader, and he earned a lot of money. It was just that Yang Ming had spoken, so Bai Hai really couldn't do anything to Gu Xinyao. Moreover, Gu Xinyao specifically took the wife route and had a good relationship with Lin Jiyun. Bai Hai really didn't dare to break up with her. Once they broke up, maybe Yang Ming would know and fire him. Therefore, Gu Xinyao thought about herself and Jing Xiaolu. She felt that Jing Xiaolu had her own pursuits, so she could only wish her well. She hoped that Jing Xiaolu could show her own talents in front of Yang Ming. After receiving a call from Tian Donghua, Tian Long was surprised and cautious at the same time. After repeatedly asking Tian Donghua, Tian Long told Tian Donghua where he was after Yang Ming was not around him. After all, his plan had been exposed. Tian Long was not sure if Yang Ming would bring people to trouble him. Although Yang Ming was in Donghai's territory, a strong dragon could not suppress a local snake. However, Tian Long was afraid that Yang Ming would not play by the rules and call the police to solve the problem. It was reasonable to say that the matters between the gangs were solved by the gangs themselves. After one side suffered a loss, they would not call the police. However, Yang Ming was different. Yang Ming's identity was a college student, and the gangs in Songjiang could no longer be called gangs. They had all turned into legitimate businesses, so Tian Long was really afraid that Yang Ming would bring the police to trouble him. In that case, once the police were involved, it would be difficult for him to make a move on Yang Ming. As long as Yang Ming had a problem, the first suspect would be Tian Long. In his secret villa, Tian Donghua saw his father. Tian Donghua had never been to this villa before. Tian Donghua did not expect that his father had so many properties outside. Donghua, you are here. Tian Long sat on the sofa in the living room. His face was cold, and it was difficult to see his original thoughts. Dad. When Tian Donghua called his father, he was somewhat bitter. He was now in a dilemma. On one hand, it was family, and on the other hand, it was friendship. However, choosing the side of family was against morality. After all, it was his father who was wrong first. It was not legitimate for him to side with him. Therefore, Tian Donghua had already made his own choice. Dad, why did you lie to me? Donghua, you are still young. Tian Long pointed to the sofa opposite and motioned for Tian Donghua to sit down. Then he said, you don't understand my difficulties. Do you know that if I can't catch Yang Ming this time, what will the boss behind the scenes do to me? Dad, let's stop. Tian Donghua finally made up his mind. He stood up and looked at his father and said, Dad, it is not too late to stop now. Stop. Tian Long looked at Tian Donghua and suddenly smiled. How can I stop now? At this point, how do you want me to stop? Let go of the Sun family's people. Take the initiative to admit the mistake, as if this had never happened. Tian Donghua said with some excitement. Let go. How do you want me to explain to the boss behind the scenes? Tian Long said, Donghua, you know too little. The boss behind the scenes is not an ordinary person. If I quit halfway, he will not let me go. Didn't he just provide you with funds? Don't you now control the Sun family's company? Just compensate him with money. If it really doesn't work, give more. When the Sun family's people are released, you can explain the situation to them. I believe that they are not unreasonable people. They should be able to understand, said Tian Donghua. Refund the money to the mysterious boss. Tian Long sneered at himself. The behind-the-scenes boss is not short of money at all. What he lacks is people who can do things for him. Do you think that if I compensate him with money, he will let me go? Dad, don't be stupid. Don't be stubborn. Tian Donghua said loudly, if the behind-the-scenes boss is really so powerful, then he can catch Yang Ming himself. Why does he need your help? Wake up. He is not powerful at all. Tian Long listened to Tian Donghua's words and suddenly became silent. Indeed, if the behind-the-scenes boss is really so powerful, why does he need my help to catch Yang Ming? Why doesn't he do it himself? Seeing that Tian Long was a little shaken, Tian Donghua quickly continued, Dad, you think about it. This must be a scam. The other party wants to use you to achieve an unspeakable purpose. Just when Tian Long was about to be shaken, he suddenly remembered one thing. That was, in his own gang, when he was eliminating the dissidents, the behind-the-scenes boss once sent a mysterious person to help him. This mysterious person's skill was very good. In his own gang, Jin Gang, who used to be one of the 4 protectors, was not his opponent. Old Qian was one of Sun Hongjuan's loyalists, but because of his strong martial arts, his status in the gang was extraordinary, so he had always been a big problem for Tian Long. However, the first master in the gang died in the hands of the mysterious person. This made Tian Long have a new understanding of the behind-the-scenes boss' strength. Thinking of this, Tian Long suddenly had a cold sweat. His face changed. You don't understand the behind-the-scenes boss. It is normal that you don't know his strength. His strength is not a lie. Then why doesn't he catch Yang Ming himself? Instead, he needs your help. Asked Tian Donghua. Maybe there are some reasons, but the strength of the boss is definitely not what you can imagine. Tianlong denied. Donghua, you don't have to participate in this matter anymore. Dad, have you lost your mind? Tian Donghua was anxious. How is his strength strong? Why don't you say it? The strength of the behind-the-scenes boss. Okay. Tianlong saw that Tian Donghua insisted on knowing, and there was no other way. He had to say, do you know Jean Gang's old Qian in the gang? Uncle Qian. Was he not killed by the enemy? When Tian Donghua said this, he suddenly faintly thought of something. Jean Gang's old Qian was loyal to Sun Hongjun. Would his accident be related to his father? No, he was not killed by the enemy, but by the behind-the-scenes boss. Tianlong said, even Jean Gang's old Qian could be easily killed. How strong do you think the behind-the-scenes boss is? Tian Donghua listened to his father's words and frowned. He knew Uncle Qian's martial arts. When he was young, he was once the provincial boxing champion. He was famous for his pair of powerful Jean Gang's legs. He once broke a steel bar with one kick. What kind of terrifying strength was this? However, Tian Donghua just couldn't understand why the behind-the-scenes boss wanted to deal with Yang Ming. Yes, Tian Donghua remembered what Yang Ming said to him before. Could this be an excuse for his father? The behind-the-scenes boss didn't want to do anything to Yang Ming, but his father was afraid that the remnants of the Sun family would be detrimental to his career. So, he wanted to capture Yang Ming, right? When he just came to the villa, Tian Donghua was made to forget this by his father's words. At this time, he suddenly remembered and felt more and more that there was such a possibility. Otherwise, the behind-the-scenes boss was so powerful that he could even kill Jean Gang's old Qian, let alone Yang Ming. Moreover, Yang Ming was a college student in Songjiang, which was so far away from Donghai. Why would the behind-the-scenes boss specifically go against him? No matter how he thought about it, it was somewhat illogical. Thinking of this, Tian Donghua asked, Dad, I understand. In fact, the behind-the-scenes boss didn't ask you to target Yang Ming at all, right? You were afraid that Yang Ming would cause trouble for you, so you took the initiative to capture him. But you were afraid that I wouldn't agree, so you made up such a reason that the behind-the-scenes boss wanted to target Yang Ming to deceive me, right? What? Tianlong was a little excited after listening to Tian Donghua's words. I am targeting Yang Ming. Why would I target him? Donghua, don't make wild guesses. I'm not making wild guesses. I'm telling the truth. Tian Donghua said, Yang Ming is the son-in-law of the Sun family and Sun Jie's boyfriend. You are afraid that he will cause trouble at this juncture. You're afraid that he'll find trouble with you, so you must restrain him before you'll stop. Me? Control him. Are you kidding me? What kind of trouble will he bring me? Tianlong laughed a little. Yes, although he is just a college student, he may call the police. Tian Donghua said, you are afraid that he will call the police, so you made an excuse to talk to him about me and asked him out without him noticing. Why do you think so? Tianlong listened to Tian Donghua's words and was a little dumbfounded. Tianlong secretly captured the Sun family's people without others noticing. Not many people knew about this matter, and Yang Ming obviously didn't know, so Tianlong didn't expect that Yang Ming would find trouble with this matter. Tianlong wanted to capture Yang Ming because of the behind-the-scenes boss. However, now Tian Donghua's statement made him unable to refute it. Indeed, if it was related to Yang Ming's identity and he captured him, in the eyes of outsiders, he really had the intention of targeting the Sun family. Isn't that the case? Tian Donghua and Tianlong were tit for tat. Since you think so, I can't help it. Tianlong sighed. Donghua, don't blame Dad. Before this matter is over, you should stay here honestly. What do you mean? Tian Donghua was slightly stunned, and his face changed. Come, take the young master to rest for a few days. Tian Long shouted at the door next to him, and two macho men came out from inside. They came to Tian Donghua's side, one on the left and one on the right. What are you doing? Tian Donghua asked subconsciously. Young master, I'm sorry. After the two finished speaking, they held Tian Donghua's arms on both sides and looked at Tian Long. Lock him up with the Sun family's people. Let him live in the luxury suite where I live. Tian Long thought about it and said faintly. Dad, you want to lock me up too? Tian Donghua looked at his father angrily. Are you crazy to this point? Could it be that you are so stubborn that you don't know that what you are doing now is wrong? Donghua, don't blame me. Tian Long was a little uncomfortable with his son's words, but there was really no other way. If I retreat now, I won't be able to mix in Donghai in the future. I, Tian Long, have no other choice. I can only go down this road. Tian Donghua knew that it was useless to say anything else. His father would not listen. If he could even lock himself up, then it meant that he was already possessed. Tian Donghua did not resist. At this time, resistance had no meaning. He followed his father's two men to a black commercial car outside the door and was taken away. Yang Ming had been waiting for news from Tian Donghua. He hoped that Tian Long could make the right choice. Sometimes, the opportunity was in front of you, but there was only one chance. If you missed it, there would be no more. At least he knew that Sun Jia and Sun Hongjun were safe now, but they were under house arrest by Tian Long, so Yang Ming was not worried. Su Ping saw that Yang Ming was in a bad mood, so he didn't say anything more. He just accompanied him to eat lunch silently. Yang Ming first called Qin Mengyan. He didn't expect so many things to happen on the first day back. First, it was the company's matter, then it was Tian Long's matter and the Sun family's matter. As a result, he didn't even go to school. Dear, what are you doing? Yang Ming dialed Qin Mengyan's phone. Qin Mengyan was now in a sober state, so she immediately heard Yang Ming's voice. She couldn't help but blush when she thought of the scene when she hung up the phone directly last night. Yang Ming, I am in the dormitory. Where are you? Qin Mengyan pulled Lin Jiyun's hand and pointed to her phone. Lin Jiyun naturally knew that it was Yang Ming who called. She sat next to Qin Mengyan and paid attention to the movement here without blinking. I am outside. Ming Yang, something happened at the company. Yang Ming finished speaking, and then he thought that Qin Mengyan still didn't know that he was the actual owner of Ming Yang Entertainment, so he said, 2 people ran away with the money. I just met with your dad. Since Qin Fei had already seen that he was in Ming Yang Entertainment, then Yang Ming didn't need to hide anything from Qin Mengyan, but now wasn't the time to talk about this. At least he had to meet her before he told her about Ming Yang Entertainment. Ah! Is it serious? Qin Mengyan was shocked. She didn't know which Ming Yang company Yang Ming was talking about. She thought it was Yang Ming's father's company, so she didn't ask much. At night. If I have time at night, I will go home, but I may not be able to spend the night. Yang Ming sighed. Mengyan, I'm sorry. It's nothing. Business is more important. Then you should hurry up and go home at night. Qin Mengyan wasn't an unreasonable person. Seeing that Yang Ming was so serious, she no longer chatted with him. Chapter 1231. Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan were safe and sound, which made Sui Yuejin shocked and angry. According to the news from the informants in Songjiang, these 2 people were fine. Not only did they conduct a large-scale search for the company's absconders, but they also frequently cooperated with the police to solve the case. These two people were fine, but Sui Yuejin wasn't. Facing Tianlong's question, it was like he didn't ask anyone to assassinate them. However, Sui Yuejin did indeed entrust the world-class assassin group, the Butterfly Assassin Group, to undertake this mission. As for why Bao Sanli and Ho Xinhan were not dead yet, Sui Yuejin couldn't understand. Sui Yuejin logged into the platform for the release of the Assassin Commission mission and checked the mission he had posted. The status of the mission showed that it had been accepted by the Butterfly Assassin Group, and the mission was in progress. However, how many days had passed? There was still no news. The Butterfly Assassin Group was the world's most well-known and efficient assassin group. How could a mission be backlogged for so many days? Could it be that there were too many missions, and they missed my mission? Thinking of this, Sui Yuejin felt that it was very possible. After all, an assassin group had a lot of missions every day. My mission isn't a big mission, so it might be ignored. But what should I do if it is ignored? Although there was also a reminder button on the website, when Tianlong called before, Sui Yuejin had already urged the order, but there was no response at all. Sui Yuejin couldn't be helped. He had to start looking for the contact information of the Butterfly Assassin Group on the website. After a lot of effort, he finally found a phone number. Sui Yuejin didn't think much about it. He picked up the landline on the table and dialed the contact number of the Butterfly Assassin Group. Because his mobile phone didn't open the international live broadcast function, only the landline on the table could be opened, so Sui Yuejin used the landline on the table. After a while, the call was connected. However, the other party spoke in English, so Sui Yuejin didn't understand a word. Sui Yuejin quickly called his secretary and asked him to answer the phone. Sui Yuejin's secretary was a master's student with a postgraduate degree who knew 3 international languages. President Sui, this is the phone voice. Let us choose. Press 1 to inquire about the mission. Press 2 to urge the mission, press 3 to leave a message, press 0 to transfer manual service. The secretary listened to the voice on the phone for a while, then she translated it for Sui Yuejin. Press 0. Switch to manual mode and talk to him. Sui Yuejin instructed after listening. Okay, Director Sui, the secretary replied. Then, she pressed the 0 button and switched to the manual service. Tell me exactly what it says, said Sui Yuejin. After a while, the secretary said, Mr. Sui, he's asking how he can be of service to you. You ask him why the mission I submitted hasn't been executed yet, said Sui Yuejin. This secretary was also Sui Yuejin's confidant. After following Sui Yuejin for a few years, he also knew what kind of business Sui Yuejin was doing, so Sui Yuejin did not hide anything from him. The secretary translated to the other side of the phone according to Sui Yuejin's instructions. After listening to the other party's answer, the secretary said to Sui Yuejin, President Sui, he said, please provide the mission order number. The order number is ZXCDFW 2009XXXXX. Sui Yuejin opened his notepad and pointed out the order number on it to the secretary. The secretary nodded and reported the order number to the other party. After a while, he relayed the other party's words to Sui Yuejin. President Sui, the other party said that he wants to check and then give us an answer. Please leave your contact information. Okay, you can leave the landline number of my office with them, said Sui Yuejin directly. The secretary reported the phone number to the other party. After hearing the confirmation from the other party, he hung up the phone and said to Sui Yuejin, President Sui, they said that they will contact us after checking. Sui Yuejin nodded and waved to the secretary, indicating that he could go out. Tombstone had already ordered to thoroughly investigate who the client of Wang Kejin's 2 missions were, but because the platform was confidential, there was no way to investigate thoroughly. However, for the client who wanted to assassinate Yang Ming, they got an unexpected clue. The mission to assassinate Yang Ming was contacted by a veteran agent in the assassin world to the Butterfly Assassin Group. According to him, it was a commission from a friend in the industry. This was a very valuable clue. After Tombstone learned about it, he immediately asked his men to follow up and contact the veteran agent to find out who the client was. However, because the client was also an underground worker, he could only be contacted through email. He didn't get a reply yet. As for the mission to assassinate Bao Sanli and Ho Xinhan, there were no clues. The Assassin's Mission Commission platform was completely anonymous, and no clues could be found on it. Therefore, this matter could only be put on hold. Because Tombstone was now performing a mission outside, the actual person in charge of the assassin group was Tombstone's junior, Xiao Hai. The efficiency of the Butterfly Assassin Group was still very high. After Sui Yuejin's question was answered, they entered the inquiry process. However, after checking, they found that the mission was suspended. In the database, the reason for the suspension was not written, but because the suspension of a mission could only be suspended with the agreement of the highest person in charge of the organization, other people did not have this authority, so this mission could only be reported to Xiao Hai. Master Xiao Hai, the client with the order number ZXCDFW 2009XXXXX, just called to ask why this mission has not been executed. I checked the database and found that this mission has been suspended. Asked a disciple of the Butterfly family. Oh. Xiao Hai put down the matter in his hand. His face changed slightly and became a little excited. There were only 2 missions that had been suspended by him recently, both of which were Wang Kejin's missions. Tombstone also told him to pay attention to the mission and asked him to find out who the client was. However, there had been no news, so it was put on hold. He didn't expect the client of this mission to call. Isn't this a godsend opportunity? As Xiao Hai thought of this, he quickly checked the order number mentioned by the disciple on his computer. Sure enough, it was the order about Wang Kejin's assassination of Bao Sanli and Ho Xinhan that he had suspended. Someone had already contacted the veteran agent about the order to assassinate Yang Ming. This order to assassinate Bao Sanli and Ho Xinhan was issued through the assassin platform, so there was no way to track it thoroughly. But now, someone took the initiative to send it to him, which shocked Xiao Hai. Did he leave his contact information? Asked Xiao Hai. For the lower-level disciples of the assassin group, Xiao Hai didn't need to say too much. These were confidential things. Xiao Hai naturally couldn't tell them. He left it. It's here. The disciple respectfully handed the registration card to Xiao Hai. Okay, I got it. I will take care of this matter. You go and do your work first. After Xiao Hai finished, he made a gesture, indicating that the disciple could leave. Yes, Master Xiao Hai. The disciple bowed and respectfully left Xiao Hai's office. After the disciple left, Xiao Hai picked up the phone and dialed Tombstone's phone number. After the phone rang twice, it was picked up. Hello. Tombstone's voice came from the phone. Senior brother, I am Xiao Hai. Xiao Hai said, the client of the assassination of Bao Sanli and Ho Xinhan has been found. What? Found? So fast. Tombstone was shocked when he heard Xiao Hai's words. He also knew the process of the assassin platform. It was all published anonymously. How could they find the client? Yes, the client just called and asked why the mission was not completed. After that, he left his contact information. Xiao Hai explained, now, the contact phone is in my hand. It is the phone number of China. It should be more convenient for you to track it down than me. Good job. You tell me the contact number, said Tombstone. The phone number is 0XXX88887777, said Xiao Hai. Is there still no news about the person who assassinated Yang Ming? Tombstone wrote down the phone number and asked. Not yet. I have contacted the veteran broker, but he has not replied yet, said Xiao Hai. Okay, let me know as soon as you have news. Tombstone hung up the phone after he finished speaking. The contact between him and Xiao Hai had always been concise. There was no nonsense. This was also a habit that he had developed in the organization for many years. Although it was against the rules to give the client's contact information to the target to be killed, Tombstone could only make an exception because the situation was special. It involved the Butterfly family's Miss Wang Xiaoyan and the Butterfly family's future son-in-law, Yang Ming. Anyway, he was not afraid that the client would reveal the Butterfly family's broken promise because he would not be able to survive. Wang Kejin, pass this contact information to the Mississippi. It is not suitable for me to appear. Tombstone gave the recorded contact information to Wang Kejin and asked him to pass it to Wang Xiaoyan. Okay. Wang Kejin took the contact information. Although he also thought that it was inappropriate, Wang Kejin could not say anything because it was Tombstone's order. He could only do as Tombstone instructed. Wang Kejin hesitated and dialed Wang Xiaoyan's phone number. Wang Xiaoyan had just finished class. She heard the phone ring, but she saw an unfamiliar number. Hello. Wang Xiaoyan picked up the phone. Miss, it's me, Wang Kejin. Wang Kejin introduced himself. Oh. Wang Kejin. What's the matter? Wang Xiaoyan was slightly stunned. She did not expect the call to be from Wang Kejin. Miss, we have investigated the contact information of the client who assassinated Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan, said Wang Kejin. There is already a result. Wang Xiaoyan was a little surprised. There was actually a result so soon. Tell me his contact information. Okay, his phone number is 0XXX88887777. Wang Kejin said. He used this phone to call and asked why the mission had not been carried out. Miss, this is not in line with the rules of our organization. You must not make it public. Wang Kejin couldn't help but remind her. I understand. You don't have to tell me. Wang Xiaoyan said faintly. Although she didn't say anything, she was the miss of the Butterfly family. It was very embarrassing to be reminded by her underlings. Wang Xiaoyan couldn't do something that would ruin the family's image. Wang Kejin heard that Wang Xiaoyan's tone was a little unhappy. He was shocked and felt that he had said too much. Wang Xiaoyan did not take over the family's affairs, so Wang Xiaoyan's status had not been cultivated among them. In their subconscious, they did not face Wang Xiaoyan as the master. Thinking of Wang Xiaoyan's status, Wang Kejin was a little scared. He quickly said, Sorry, Mississippi. I was meddlesome. It's nothing. Wang Xiaoyan didn't care about anything with Wang Kejin. Have you found the person who assassinated me and Yang Ming? Not yet, but it is being followed up. I believe there will be a result soon, said Wang Kejin. Okay, contact me at any time if there is news, said Wang Xiaoyan. After getting the phone number of the person who assassinated Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan, Wang Xiaoyan immediately dialed Yang Ming's phone number. Because Ho Jinhan, Bao Sanli, and Wang Xiaoyan were not familiar with each other, this matter could only be handled by Yang Ming. Yan, what's the matter? Yang Ming was anxiously waiting for Tian Donghua's news, but after waiting for 4 hours, Tian Donghua should have already arrived in Donghai. Yang Ming still had no news of him. The phone rang. He thought it was Tian Donghua calling, but when he looked at the caller ID, it was Wang Xiaoyan. Yang Ming didn't know why Wang Xiaoyan would call him at this time. Yang Ming, the person who assassinated Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan has been found. Wang Xiaoyan said, Wang Kejin just called me. What? He has been found. Who is it? Asked Yang Ming quickly. Previously, Chu Daiming and Lu Chan's escape from Donghai had already made Yang Ming vaguely feel that the assassination of Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan should have a great relationship with Chu Daiming and Lu Chan. Tianlong's rebellion was inextricably linked to Chu Daiming and Lu Chan. Tianlong's targeting of Yang Ming just proved this point. In other words, these three things could be considered as one thing. Therefore, when Wang Xiaoyan said that she had found the person who assassinated Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan, Yang Ming's heart moved. This was a very valuable clue. Maybe he could get some hints from it. Now, things were still not clear. Yang Ming was completely in a state of confusion. Tianlong targeted him, targeted Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan, targeted his company, and targeted the Sun family. Although these things were beneficial to him, it would be very troublesome to do them all together. Normal people wouldn't do so many things at the same time. In this way, not only would they be powerless, but it would also bring a lot of trouble if they messed up. Is it really like what Tian Donghua said? Is it just because of the behind-the-scenes boss that Tian Donghua is targeting me? These answers could only wait for Tian Donghua to see Tianlong before he could solve his doubts. However, just as he was waiting for the answer, Wang Xiaoyan unexpectedly gave him a piece of exciting news. Wang Kejin gave me his contact information. The contact information is 0XXX88887777. Wang Xiaoyan said, that person only left the contact information, but this should be enough. Is it a phone call from Mount Jing? When Yang Ming heard the area code, he couldn't help but exclaim, why is it Mount Jing? Then I don't know. I will leave the investigation to you. I will go to class first. Chapter 1232. Yang Ming's mind suddenly sobered up. No wonder I feel that this immortal group is so familiar. It turns out that the Immortal Resort is a subsidiary of this immortal group. Then, isn't this immortal group the property of the Sui family? Could it be that the assassination of Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan was instructed by the Sui family? As a result, the process of the incident, which had a little clue, became clueless again. If the matter involved the Sui family, then it was not as simple as Tianlong leading. What kind of person was Sui Yuejin? He was different from Lu Chan and Chu Daiming. He was also a duke. Whether it was in the business world or in the gang, he was not inferior to Tianlong. It was impossible for him to be controlled and ordered by Tianlong. Therefore, this matter was either a conspiracy between the two or a coincidence. But in any case, Yang Ming was ready to talk to Sui Yuejin. Tianlong had the Sun family's people as hostages. Yang Ming naturally did not dare to act rashly without understanding the situation. But for the Sui family, he did not have so many scruples. Last time, I let you go once. At this time, you came to find trouble again. Then, you can't blame Yang Ming. Yang Ming didn't understand why the Sui family wanted to join in the fun. Whether it was Sui Guangqi's pursuit of Zhou Jiejie, or Zhou Ruoguang's pursuit of Zhao Ying and Qin Mengyan, to the current assassination of Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan. Is this Sui family going against me? To be honest, Yang Ming's original intention was not to run a gang. Otherwise, it was impossible to guide Bao Sanli to the right path. Therefore, Yang Ming did not care about Sui Yuejin's power in Mount Jing, and he did not want to occupy anything. After all, the longer he stretched his hand, the faster he would be unlucky. It was better to develop his own African tourism island business and assassin business. This was his own future path. However, now that the Sui family found trouble with him, Yang Ming naturally couldn't sit idly by. That would be too cowardly. Yang Ming wasn't the kind of person who didn't fight back when he was bullied. Although it couldn't be said that he would seek revenge for the smallest grievance, he was also the kind of person who would retaliate if someone offended him. After calling Tian Donghua's phone several times, he couldn't get through. While Yang Ming was worried about Tian Donghua's safety, he also became more and more cautious. However, thinking that Tian Long was Tian Donghua's father, Tian Donghua shouldn't do anything to Tian Donghua. Yang Ming was relieved. If the other party was only Tian Long alone, Yang Ming would not be afraid. However, he was afraid of the hostages in Tian Long's hands and the mysterious boss behind Tian Long. Yang Ming couldn't say that he had suffered a loss in the hands of the mysterious boss, but he didn't get any benefits either. This was a strong opponent. Not only did he know Yang Ming very well, but he was also very cunning. Every move he made was unexpected for Yang Ming. Since Tian Long's side had to carefully discuss before deciding the next step, Yang Ming decided to go to Mount Jing first to solve the trouble of the Sui family. Otherwise, with him causing trouble, Yang Ming couldn't deal with Tian Long with peace of mind. Judging from Tian Long's current response policy, he would not kill the Sun family's people. Otherwise, Tian Long wouldn't choose the house arrest policy at the beginning. So in this way, the Sun family was not in danger for the time being. Tian Donghua was Tian Long's son. Even if Tian Long was crazy, it was impossible for him to kill Tian Donghua. So Yang Ming was not very worried. In order not to leave any evidence in Handle, Yang Ming removed the license plate in front of his BMW and replaced it with a fake license plate with messy numbers. Bao Sanli had a lot of such things in his hands. Many of them were broken off from scrapped cars. It could be said that the license plates were suppressed by the formal license plate factory, but there was no procedure. So, from the appearance, it was no different from a real license plate. After changing the license plate, Yang Ming drove to Mount Jing. This time, Yang Ming went alone. He didn't bring anyone, including Wang Xiaoyan. Because dealing with Sui Yuejin, he alone was enough. At 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, it was the rush hour to get off work. The bustling Mount Jing was full of traffic. Yang Ming sat here and quietly observed the Immortal Building not far away. In the Immortal Building, many white-collar workers of all kinds came out one after another. There were men and women, old and young. In the underground parking lot, there were cars driving out from time to time. Yang Ming's gaze had been fixed on the chairman's office on the 16th floor of the Immortal Building. A middle-aged man with a similar appearance to Sui Guangqi and Sui Yuemin. This person was obviously Sui Yuejin. This could also be seen from the names of the people who came in and out of the building. Most people called him Chairman Sui or President Sui. Sui Yuejin was sitting in the office at the moment, quietly waiting for a call from the Butterfly Assassin Group. Originally, there was a social engagement tonight, but Sui Yuejin also asked his secretary to cancel it. The most important thing at present was to figure out the situation of the assassination of Ho Xinhan and Bao Sanli. Otherwise, facing Tian Long's responsibility, Sui Yuejin really couldn't refute it. President Sui, haven't you called yet? The secretary had an appointment with his girlfriend tonight, but now it seemed that Sui Yuejin didn't mean to let him get off work, so the secretary could only accompany him here. Sui Yuejin shook his head, glanced at the secretary and asked, "What's the matter?" Today is my girlfriend's birthday. I originally agreed to have dinner with her. The secretary said with a bitter smile, but I will call and tell her now. Sui Yuejin nodded. This secretary had been with him for many years and had made great contributions to him. Sui Yuejin wasn't the kind of person who was unreasonable. Today was a temporary situation, and it involved some secret things. Sui Yuejin wanted to buy people's hearts, so he said, "So, isn't it her birthday today? I happen to have a diamond ring here. A friend brought it back from France for your sister-in-law, but your sister-in-law already has a lot of jewelry. This is for you. Give this to your girlfriend as a gift so that she won't be angry with you. As Sui Yuejin spoke, he opened the safe next to him, took out a small box from it, opened it, and pushed it in front of the secretary. The secretary's eyes suddenly lit up. What a big diamond! Such a diamond was at least 4 or 5 carats, and it was made by a famous master in Paris, France. There was also an appraisal certificate inside. Such a diamond would cost at least $1 million in China. Such a valuable gift, the secretary didn't dare to accept it. President Sui, such a valuable gift. Indeed, when she was with Sui Yuejin, the secretary had taken a lot of small favors. For example, Sui Yuejin would usually give things like tobacco, wine, rice, and soybean oil to the secretary. However, this time, the thing was different. It was a diamond ring, and the secretary didn't dare to take it. Sui Yuejin looked at the secretary's fearful look and smiled with satisfaction. Xiao Yu, you have been with me for so many years. Even if you don't have any merits, you have worked hard. So, this diamond ring is my engagement gift to you too. Since Sui Yuejin said so, the secretary couldn't refuse. She had to quickly thank him and accept the ring, but her hands were shaking again. Go and call your girlfriend. Sui Yuejin waved his hand and urged. The secretary quickly held the box and happily left Sui Yuejin's office. Sui Yuejin smiled slightly. It's only a little more than $1 million yuan. It's worth it to bribe my underling so that he won't go out and talk nonsense. The secretary left Sui Yuejin's office and returned to her workspace. She put the ring aside with trembling hands and dialed her girlfriend's cell phone number. Hello. Where are you? I have been waiting for you in the restaurant for half an hour. Why haven't you come yet? The girlfriend's angry voice came from the other side of the phone. I called your cell phone, but no one answered. What do you want? I'm sorry, Xiao Li. My cell phone was in the workspace. I just got it from President Sui. The secretary quickly apologized. Then, when are you coming? Aren't you supposed to get off work early? I have already ordered the dishes. The girlfriend snorted and said. I'm sorry, Xiao Li. I can't go. The secretary said apologetically, today, President Sui has something to do in the company. I can't go. You eat by yourself. Go home and wait for me after eating, I eat by myself. The girlfriend was angry when she heard the secretary's words. What's wrong with your President Sui? You work hard for him all year round. It's my birthday today, and he still doesn't give you a break. Xiao Li, don't be angry. Listen to me. The secretary quickly picked up the ring box and opened it. What are you saying? I'll give you 2 choices. Either we break up, or you come to the restaurant within 10 minutes. The girlfriend interrupted the secretary's words and ordered. Xiao Li, listen to me. The secretary said, President Sui also knew about your birthday, and he gave us a big gift. What gift? When the girlfriend heard that President Sui gave something, she asked patiently. A 5-carat French diamond ring. The secretary said, it was given to President Sui's wife by someone else, but President Sui said that there were already a lot of jewelry at home. He just heard that it was your birthday, so he gave it to us as an engagement gift. Ah! 5 carats. The girlfriend suddenly exclaimed, really? There are 5 carats. Yeah, I've seen it. It's about the same style in China. It's more than $1 million. The secretary said with some pride, so, are you still angry? Then why should I be angry? I'll go home and wait for you after I finish eating. The girlfriend said cheerfully, changing her anger. Okay, you wash up and wait for me in bed. The secretary was also very happy. However, he never thought that this phone call would become his and his girlfriend's last words. For many years, the secretary who helped Sui Yuejin to do evil also got the punishment he deserved. Sui Yuejin's words and actions to the secretary were clearly seen by Yang Ming. He didn't expect this guy to be so good at buying people's hearts. No wonder he was so popular in Mount Jing, but unfortunately, he just had to go against Yang Ming. Yang Ming naturally wanted to beat this guy up and make him bleed. The sky gradually darkened, and the street lights lit up. The entire immortal building was initially brightly lit. Now, only the chairman's office and the security room on the first floor were lit. Yang Ming had already made a plan to sneak into the immortal building. It was obviously not advisable to enter from the front door. After work, if he wanted to enter again, he would definitely be strictly interrogated by the security guard on duty. As a result, it was not conducive to Yang Ming's next plan. However, although the security of the immortal building seemed to be tight, it was actually not. Although it was spring, the windows in the bathroom were still open. This was also the fatal weakness of many buildings. The last time he went to teach the Four Snakes gang from Donghai a lesson, Yang Ming sneaked in from the bathroom. This time, it was no exception. Although the main body of the building was made of plexiglass and large mosaics, it was not difficult to climb. As long as there was a suction cup dipped in water, it could be easily climbed up. It was just that the building was in a bustling area with cars coming and going. Although it was already dark at this moment, there were still many pedestrians, making Yang Ming unable to move. At this time, if a person climbed up the building, it would definitely attract the attention of others, so Yang Ming could only wait until there was no one on the street before he took action. Yang Ming's plan was to follow Sui Yuejin after he got off work and go to a secluded place to make a move. However, it was obvious that Sui Yuejin planned to stay in the company today. From the conversation between Sui Yuejin and his secretary, Little Yu, Yang Ming also heard some general information. It turned out that Sui Yuejin had called the assassin organization to inquire about it. At this moment, he was waiting for the assassin organization's reply. However, could he still wait for a reply? Sui Yuejin probably never dreamed that the assassin organization he entrusted was actually related to Yang Ming. Why is the efficiency so slow? What a world-famous assassin organization. There is actually no news for so long. Sui Yuejin sat at his desk and looked at the clock at the corner of the table impatiently. It was already 11 o'clock in the middle of the night, and there was still no call. If Sui Yuejin knew this, he should have left his cell phone number. Why wait here for a call? However, after thinking about it again, the other party spoke English. If he left his cell phone number, he couldn't understand what the other party was saying. He had to find his secretary, Little Yu, to translate, so he could only leave the company's phone number. Sui Yuejin was so bored that he opened the card game on the computer and played it. The clock passed by minute. Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Zhou Jiejie returned home early and waited for Yang Ming to come back. However, they waited from 6 o'clock in the evening until 11 o'clock, but they didn't see Yang Ming. Although she knew that Yang Ming might be delayed by something important, Chen Mengyan still couldn't hold back the worry in her heart and dialed Yang Ming's phone number. Yang Ming had been paying attention to Sui Yuejin's movements and didn't pay much attention to the time. A qualified assassin must have good patience. When tracking and monitoring the target, he must ignore the existence of time. When he heard the phone ring, Yang Ming found out that it was already 11 o'clock. He picked up the phone apologetically. Mengyan, haven't you rested yet? I am outside. I have something to deal with. Not yet. We are all waiting for you, but we know that you must be delayed by something. We just miss you, so we called to ask. Chen Mengyan wasn't an unreasonable person. When she heard Yang Ming say this, she naturally understood. I'm fine. You should rest first. I'm really sorry, Mengyan. Yang Ming had been back for so long, but he hadn't been able to see Chen Mengyan. Okay, then we will sleep first. You have to be careful. Once you are done, go home early. Chen Mengyan reminded him like a newlywed wife. Yang Ming sighed and hung up the phone. He didn't know when this kind of life would end. Although he got something that others couldn't get in a lifetime, sometimes when he calmed down, he didn't have the carefree happiness of high school. Every day, he was surrounded by danger and conspiracy. This kind of life made Yang Ming very uncomfortable. Although he hoped that all of this would end as soon as possible, Yang Ming had to deal with the matter in front of him first. Looking at the watch, it was almost 12 o'clock. There were almost no pedestrians on the road. Yang Ming changed into a night suit in the car, got off, and hid in the darkness. He tiptoed to the side of the immortal building and checked the suction cup in his hand. After confirming that it could be firmly attached to the outer wall of the building, Yang Ming began to quickly climb to an open window on the second floor of the building. Yang Ming's movements were fast. In just a few seconds, he jumped into the open window on the second floor. Yang Ming had already used his special ability to check before. This was indeed a bathroom. Climbing up this building was actually not difficult. The difficulty was the camera in the corridor after leaving the bathroom. If he was here to perform an assassination mission, Yang Ming would definitely kill the people in the security room without mercy, and then destroy the monitoring system. However, this time, Yang Ming was not here to kill, but he intended to extort something from Sui Yuejin and let him pay for his actions. As mentioned before, Yang Ming's ambition was not to unify the underworld and develop a gang, so Yang Ming was not interested in the industries of the Sui family in Mount Jing. After taking over, not only would it be difficult to manage, but it wouldn't make much money. The main reason was that the distance to Songjiang was not close. When Sun Hongjun planned to give Yang Ming the Donghai industry for free, Yang Ming didn't take over it, let alone Mount Jing. Of course, Yang Ming could also run quickly from the second floor to the security room and then knock them out, but there was a certain distance between the security room and the second floor. Yang Ming ran through the corridor and then down the stairs. Then, he ran through the corridor on the first floor to the security room, which would delay a lot of time. When he passed by the reception room, he was bound to be seen by the guards and the security guards on duty at the door, so Yang Ming had to knock them down first. This would take a lot of time. These delays added up were enough to make the security guards in the security room alert and call Sui Yuejin or the police. Therefore, this was not the result Yang Ming wanted. Yang Ming had already thought of a plan to deal with it. In the immortal building, there were several surveillance cameras. It was obviously impossible to display the images captured by each camera on the computer screen in the monitoring room. Chapter 1233. In the entire immortal building, there were several surveillance cameras distributed on each floor. From the corridor to the elevator to the emergency exit, there were surveillance cameras running. There were at least a few hundred cameras working in the entire building. However, the size of the surveillance screen in the security room was limited. It was obviously impossible to display the images captured by each surveillance camera on the computer screen of the security room all the time. Because of the limited size of the computer screen in the security room, only 12 real-time surveillance images could be displayed at the same time. In other words, there were dozens of cameras working, but they were not displayed on the surveillance screen of the security room. The elevator had a separate set of surveillance screens. The company only had 4 elevators, so it could be monitored in real time. Yang Ming obviously couldn't take the elevator upstairs. Once he stepped into the elevator, he would be discovered by the people in the security room. If the power of the elevator was cut off halfway, it would be over. Yang Ming had just studied the pattern of another big screen in the security room. Each set of images had 12, representing the images captured by the surveillance cameras on one of the 12 floors. The building had a total of 36 floors, so that was to say, to fully display the surveillance images of one of the points on each floor, the computer screen had to be switched 3 times to complete a cycle. Each set of images lasted about 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, the next set of images was switched. That was to say, it would take a minute to switch back to the same floor with a different surveillance point. And this time, although it didn't seem to be a lot, it was enough for Yang Ming. 1.5 minutes was enough for Yang Ming to run to the stairs. However, this was not the key. There was another important problem. After every few cycles, it would be switched to the surveillance point in the middle of the stairs on each floor. Then, it would be re-rotated from the starting surveillance point on each floor. In other words, Yang Ming must miss the time displayed on the surveillance screen of the stairs and quickly go upstairs. However, because Sui Yuejin's office was on the 36th floor, Yang Ming must run from the 2nd floor to the 36th floor in one breath. Time was a bit tight. Although the surveillance screen of the emergency staircase would only be displayed once after a round, it was quite difficult to run to the 36th floor in one breath during this time. Yang Ming's endurance and stamina were good, but it didn't necessarily mean that his speed of climbing the stairs was fast. Although it could be said that he was faster than the average person, compared to those sports athletes, he was far behind. After all, Yang Ming was a killer, not an athlete. Therefore, this was what Yang Ming was most worried about. Now, since there was no other choice, Yang Ming could only try his best to maximize the time. The cameras at the end of the corridor from the 1st to the 12th floor started to work. The computer in the security room displayed the images captured by the 12 cameras. Yang Ming began his preparations. This was because this was the last round of activation of the cameras in the corridor. The next round was the activation of the cameras in the emergency staircase. 30 seconds later, the cameras at the end of the corridor from the 13th floor to the 24th floor started to work. Yang Ming also took advantage of this time and quickly ran to the emergency staircase at the end of the corridor. The cameras at the end of the corridor from the 25th floor to the 36th floor started to work. The cameras at the stairs from the 1st floor to the 12th floor started to work. The computer screen in the security room switched to the emergency staircase. 30 seconds later, the cameras at the stairs from the 1st floor to the 12th floor stopped working and switched to the cameras at the stairs from the 13th floor to the 25th floor. At the same time, Yang Ming also began to move. He quickly ran up the emergency staircase and rushed up. With the buffer in front of him, Yang Ming saved about a minute. Don't underestimate this 1 minute. This was very precious for Yang Ming. Whether he could successfully avoid the surveillance of the cameras, the more time he had, the more chances he had. However, according to Yang Ming's current speed, before the next round of cameras switched, Yang Ming was completely confident to run up. Because Yang Ming's endurance was very good, he didn't slow down along the way, so Yang Ming successfully ran up to the 36th floor. The cameras hadn't switched to the emergency staircase yet. At this moment, Yang Ming certainly couldn't run out of the emergency staircase. In that case, he was bound to be captured by the cameras in the corridor. Although every camera in the corridor had a blind spot, it was difficult for Yang Ming to find the absolute blind spot of each camera if there was no exact measurement and just visual estimation. Even if he found it, Yang Ming couldn't guarantee that he could find the next one. In other words, once Yang Ming stood a little bit off, he would be seen by the people in the security room. Therefore, Yang Ming wouldn't take this risk to do such a dangerous thing. The cameras at the end of the corridor from the 25th floor to the 36th floor were activated again. Yang Ming knew that the opportunity had come again. When the next set of cameras, the cameras of the emergency staircase from the first floor to the 12th floor were activated, Yang Ming quickly left the emergency staircase and ran to the chairman's office. As for the name Yang Ming, Sui Yuejin vaguely seemed to have heard of it, but because this name was too common, there were at least 80 if not 100 in China, so Sui Yuejin really couldn't remember who this popular name was. As for Yang Ming, since he was ready to show his true identity in front of Sui Yuejin, he was not afraid of his revenge. Yang Ming came this time to warn Sui Yuejin to be honest and not to get involved in something that had nothing to do with him. If not, this time was a warning, the next time would not be as simple as a warning. What are you doing? Although Sui Yuejin was shocked by how Yang Ming appeared in his office, and he also saw that Yang Ming came with ill intentions, Sui Yuejin was a big shot after all. He had experienced dangerous situations before, so he could still maintain his calmness at this moment. What am I doing? Could it be that President Sui doesn't understand? Yang Ming shrugged and grinned. Didn't you just call? Call? What call? Sui Yuejin didn't understand what Yang Ming said. He snorted coldly. Who are you? What is your purpose? Just say it. Don't play these tricks in front of me. Don't blame me for not warning you. In Mount Jing, no one dares to play this game with me. Sorry, I'm not from Mount Jing. Yang Ming smiled very indifferently. However, if I were from Mount Jing, I would also speak like this. Sui Yuejin, don't you want to know that the mission you issued to assassinate Hou Xinhan and Bao Sanli has not been completed? You. Sui Yuejin's eyes widened. He thought of countless possibilities. He imagined Yang Ming as an enemy in the underworld or a thief who lacked money to extort him. However, he never thought that Yang Ming actually came for this matter. Then, is Yang Ming a member of the Butterfly Assassin Group? You don't have to tell me. You guessed right. I am an assassin. Yang Ming interrupted Sui Yuejin's words and said coldly. Yang Ming didn't lie to Sui Yuejin. Yang Ming was right. He was indeed an assassin, but he was not an assassin hired by Sui Yuejin. However, this depended on Sui Yuejin's own understanding and imagination. Then why don't you kill them? What are you doing here? Sui Yuejin was still very calm, but when he heard Yang Ming say that he was an assassin, Sui Yuejin was instinctively scared. Assassin was a strange and terrifying profession for most people. The average person might not be as good. After all, assassins were too far away from them. But for Sui Yuejin, who had been in contact with assassins and knew the horror of assassins, it was even more terrifying. Sui Yuejin subconsciously reached out to the drawer of his desk. There was a pistol in it, which was used by Sui Yuejin for self-defense. Sui Yuejin was a cunning master. At this moment, he definitely didn't think that Yang Ming just came to him to explain why he didn't assassinate Hou Xinhan and Bao Sanli. Looking at Yang Ming's posture and tone, it was not like he was treating his employer. It was like he was facing a target to be assassinated. Although Yang Ming's appearance was somewhat bizarre, this matter was originally bizarre. It was not a very complicated assassination mission, but it had not been solved for so many days. What Sui Yuejin waited for was that the assassin found his client. How could Sui Yuejin not be alert? The only thing he could do now was to find a weapon that could defend himself. When Yang Ming was not aware of it, he could win by surprise. Of course, Sui Yuejin's intentions were not hidden from Yang Ming's eyes, and the gun in his drawer was completely seen by Yang Ming. Don't act rashly. It will make me have the urge to kill you. Yang Ming said with a blank expression, originally, I didn't want to do anything to you, but don't force me. Sui Yuejin usually lied too much, so he would not believe Yang Ming's words at all. Won't do anything to me. If you won't do anything, then what are you doing here? Therefore, Sui Yuejin subconsciously thought that Yang Ming was lying, so his hand did not stop touching the drawer. It was because he saw that Yang Ming did not have any weapon in his hand, and Yang Ming was at least 2 meters away from him. At this time, it should be no problem to take out a pistol from the drawer. The current situation was that whoever occupied the dominant position had the upper hand, so how could Sui Yuejin miss this opportunity? Sui Yuejin listened to Yang Ming's words, but he only paused slightly, and his hand still touched the drawer. Yang Ming's sleeve moved slightly, followed by Sui Yuejin's scream. A very thin transparent flying needle was shot into the acupuncture point of Sui Yuejin's right palm, making his entire palm immobile. He was in so much pain that he kept trembling. "I have already warned you. I don't want anyone to go against my will." Yang Ming was very indifferent to Sui Yuejin's pain. "This is just a lesson for you to remember." Although he didn't see it clearly, Sui Yuejin could still feel that something was shot into his palm, especially the needle mark on his palm. It was particularly obvious. However, in the current situation, this thing had entered his palm. This made Sui Yuejin very worried while he was in pain. He didn't know if it had any effect on him. "Don't look at it. It is a slow-acting poison needle. You won't die for the time being." Yang Ming saw Sui Yuejin's expression. How could he not know what Sui Yuejin was thinking? He deliberately teased him. Sure enough, after Sui Yuejin heard it, the cold sweat on his forehead came out and flowed down. Sui Yuejin's horror of Yang Ming had become from the bottom of his heart at this time. He completely broke down. Yang Ming's move was too fast. He had no room to resist at all. So what if he had a gun in his hand? Maybe before he could shoot, another flying needle would have entered his head. Chapter 1234. Sui Yuejin did not expect that Yang Ming was the boss behind Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan. It just so happened that Yang Ming was an assassin. Sui Yuejin hired an assassin, but he hired his own people. Facing Yang Ming's question, Sui Yuejin bowed his head in silence. This was not only his own matter. In the middle, it involved the interests of the 3 families. There was also a behind-the-scenes boss that he had never met. Sui Yuejin didn't know how to answer Yang Ming's question. If he said that he had a grudge against Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan, it could only be traced back to Guo Jinbiao in Jiduan City. However, this reason was obviously untenable. If he had a grudge against Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan, he should have made a move when they just killed Guo Jinbiao, instead of dragging it until now. This wasn't a matter of impatience spoiling great plans, nor was it a matter of not being suspicious if he dragged it for a long time. Since Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli could kill Guo Jinbiao, then Sui Yuejin could kill Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli. They could only admit that they were unlucky, and no one could avenge them. Of course, this was based on the absence of Yang Ming. However, Sui Yuejin didn't know the existence of Yang Ming before, so if he wanted to avenge, he would have done it long ago. He wouldn't have chosen this time. "Are you involved in Tianlong's matter?" Yang Ming looked at Sui Yuejin and suddenly asked. Sui Yuejin was very nervous now, so his messy thoughts were all seen by Yang Ming. Yang Ming knew his thoughts and roughly understood that this matter was indeed related to Tianlong. Sui Yuejin was shocked. He just thought about this matter and didn't know how to talk about it, but he didn't expect Yang Ming to know all about it. In this case, Sui Yuejin didn't need to hide it anymore. His psychological defense completely collapsed. In the face of Yang Ming, this unknown yet familiar terrorist, Sui Yuejin was a little timid. Previously, Yang Ming shot him with a hidden weapon. Sui Yuejin was afraid that there would be a second time, so when he heard Yang Ming said this, he thought that Yang Ming knew, so he nodded decadently. "Yes, Tianlong found me and asked me to cooperate with him to deal with Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan." The price was to return the property to me in Jiduan City to me. Yang Ming nodded. In this way, it became reasonable. Otherwise, Yang Ming really suspected that Sui Yuejin was involved in something. Go on. The people Tian Long contacted were Chu Daiming, Lu Chan, and me. In fact, I contributed the least in the whole incident. I didn't have to do anything at all. Tian Long just asked me to take advantage of the chaos to recover Jiduan City's territory and drive Bao Sanli's people out of Jiduan City. Sui Yuejin said, I felt a little embarrassed. They were planting trees while I was enjoying the shade. Sui Yuejin shook his head with difficulty. Because his face was stepped on by Yang Ming, Sui Yuejin's head was very difficult to move. Help me do this. Is there a problem? Asked Yang Ming. Sure enough. In Sui Yuejin's heart, he was actually wondering why Yang Ming didn't kill him. It was reasonable to say that Yang Ming could kill him to vent his anger. Yang Ming could kill him as easily as crushing an ant. Now, Sui Yuejin understood that Yang Ming didn't kill him because he wanted to use him. What does Yang Ming want to use me for? Sui Yuejin knew in his heart that it was nothing more than letting him go against Tian Long. Yes, Mr. Yang, please tell me. Sui Yuejin said this sentence almost without hesitation. In the face of life and death, interests and alliances were nonsense. Yang Ming's strength was enough to make Sui Yuejin betray Tian Long. In fact, Sui Yuejin only guessed one of the reasons, but he didn't guess the most important reason. The most important reason why Yang Ming didn't kill Sui Yuejin was actually that Yang Ming felt sorry in his heart. Sui Yuejin was the assassin's client. He paid for Wang Kuk to assassinate Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan. The money was spent, but the people were not killed. Not only that, but Yang Ming found him instead. Yang Ming was also an assassin. Doing this was not in line with the assassin's professional ethics. Although there was a reason for this, and it involved his own people, Yang Ming still couldn't kill Sui Yuejin. It was enough to give him a proper warning. I will ask you to deal with Tian Long. Is there a problem? Asked Yang Ming. No. Sui Yuejin endured the pain and replied quickly. I haven't thought about the specific plan yet. However, in front of Tian Long, don't let him know that we have met. Yang Ming moved his foot that was stepping on Sui Yuejin's face to the side. Otherwise, you can imagine the consequences yourself. Sui Yuejin shuddered. For a professional assassin like Yang Ming, he couldn't guard against it. Just like in his company, the security system was very strict. Not only were there people on duty at the entrance of the building, but there was also a monitoring of the entire building in the security room. Although he didn't know how Yang Ming came up, since Yang Ming could come up once, he could come up a second time. Did Sui Yuejin have a choice? In the current situation, he could only surrender to Yang Ming in exchange for a life. The security monitoring of the immortal building was actually very strict. If it weren't for Yang Ming's special ability, it would be impossible to safely avoid the monitoring of every camera. Unless he killed the security guards in the duty room and the security room. However, Yang Ming didn't come to kill people this time, but he wanted to use Sui Yuejin to do something. Now, before determining whether the Sun family's people were life-threatening, Yang Ming didn't dare to act rashly. However, Yang Ming didn't mind creating some trouble and infighting for Tian Long. Sui Yuejin could play this role. I understand. Sui Yuejin promised, I know what's important. I won't take my life as a joke. I will contact you through the phone. Yang Ming pulled Sui Yuejin from the ground and threw him on his boss chair. Now call your security room and tell them that I am going to leave your office. Tell them not to act rashly. Otherwise, I don't mind killing someone. Ah. Sui Yuejin was stunned, and his heart was somewhat inexplicable. The people in the security room are still alive. In other words, Yang Ming avoided the security room's monitoring and came upstairs. Sui Yuejin, as the company's chairman, was very clear about the security room's monitoring system. This was the kind of switching system. In other words, no matter where Yang Ming entered the building, it was impossible to be completely uncaptured by the camera. But now, there was no movement in the security room, which also proved that Yang Ming did it. He did it. Although I don't know how he did it. Yang Ming asked me to call the security room. Maybe on the one hand, he wanted to show me his shadowless skill, and maybe he didn't want to show that skill again. Sui Yuejin obediently dialed the phone of the security room downstairs. The phone rang and was picked up. It seemed that my guess was not wrong. When Yang Ming came up, he didn't touch the people in the security room. Is this the security room? I am Sui Yuejin. Sui Yuejin said to the phone. President Sui, hello. Is there anything you need? There was a clear and calm male voice over the security room phone. Is there anything wrong with the company? Sui Yuejin pretended to ask as if nothing had happened. No, everything is fine. President Sui, please rest assured, said the security guard on duty. Sui Yuejin's heart skipped a beat. Sure enough, they didn't notice Yang Ming coming up. He glanced at Yang Ming with his peripheral vision and found that Yang Ming was smiling at him. Obviously, Yang Ming also guessed the meaning of his casual question. Yang Ming naturally knew what Sui Yuejin was thinking, but Yang Ming didn't expose him. Instead, he let him ask. Only in this way could he be more afraid of Sui Yuejin. In a while, my friend is going back. He is in my office. Help me inform the security guard on duty in the reception room at the door and ask him to help open the door. Sui Yuejin instructed. Okay, no problem, President Sui. The security guard responded without any doubt. Yang Ming nodded with satisfaction. Under Sui Yuejin's gaze, he walked out of the office. Yang Ming was not afraid that Sui Yuejin would call the police. The police would only make him die more miserably for the things he did. Yang Ming could completely deny it and not mention anything about the assassin. Therefore, Yang Ming didn't mind being captured by the surveillance video. He had already confessed his identity to Sui Yuejin, so there was no need to cover it up. The security guard at the door was very cooperative. When he saw Yang Ming go downstairs, he didn't ask much. He directly opened the company's door and politely sent Yang Ming out. This was personally instructed by the chairman, Sui Yuejin. How would they dare to ask more? After leaving the immortal building, Yang Ming didn't stop. He directly went to his BMW parked not far away on the side of the road and returned in the direction of Songjiang. It was already midnight. I don't know if Qin Mengyan and the others are resting. I should go back and see them. Sui Yuejin saw that Yang Ming left and breathed a sigh of relief. His whole body seemed to be drained, and he gasped weakly. It was too scary. It was the first time that an assassin came to his door. Sui Yuejin swore that he would never meddle in other people's business again. He would never contact people in the assassin industry again. It was pure luck that he could save his life this time. After a few breaths, Sui Yuejin was awakened by the pain in his chest. He quickly dialed the phone of the secretary's office and shouted, "Come to my office." The secretary, Little Yu, was on the phone with his girlfriend. He was shocked by Sui Yuejin's shout. He quickly hung up the phone and ran over. He was shocked when he entered the door. Sui Yuejin's mouth was full of blood, and there were footprints on his face. Little Yu's eyes widened. President Sui, what happened to you? Hurry up and call an ambulance. Send me to the hospital. Sui Yuejin ordered Little Yu. Sui Yuejin was also very relieved about the injuries on his body. Since Yang Ming still had a use for him, it was impossible for him to kill him. In other words, there was no danger to his life for the time being. Oh, okay. Little Yu nodded in a panic. He quickly picked up the phone on the table, dialed the hospital's emergency number, and ordered an ambulance to come over. After doing all this, Little Yu asked with concern, "President Sui, what's wrong with you? Is there a robber in the company?" "It's none of your business. Don't ask more." Sui Yuejin waved his hand. He didn't dare to talk casually. Now that he still had half a life, he didn't want to lose his life because of his mouth. Oh. Although Little Yu was concerned about Sui Yuejin's injury, he didn't dare to say anything more. He just asked, "Do we need to call the police?" "No." Sui Yuejin said sternly, "Don't tell anyone about this." Shortly after Yang Ming left, a black shadow appeared in front of the front door of the Immortal Building and knocked on the door. "Who is it? What's the matter?" The security guard in the building had just sent away Yang Ming. Not long after, someone knocked on the door, so he didn't dare to neglect and asked quickly. "Our boss left something in the building. He asked me to come back and get it." The black-shirt man said to the security guard on duty at the entrance of the building. "Your boss is?" the security guard asked. "The one who just went out, your President Sui's friend," said the black-shirt man. "Oh, that's it." When the security guard heard that the person in front of him was the subordinate of President Sui's friend, his attitude suddenly became much better. He quickly opened the door of the building and let the black-shirt man in. "Please come in." "Thank you. I will be back soon." After the black-shirt man finished speaking, he walked quickly into the building. After entering the building, the black-shirt man smiled strangely. He didn't go upstairs directly, but he walked in the direction of the security room. The security guard on duty at the door didn't set up any defenses. Naturally, he didn't pay attention to where the black-shirt man went after he came in. He still returned to the reception room leisurely and read the newspaper. Although the security guard in the security room saw the black-shirt man enter the building from the surveillance video, he was let in by the security guard on duty at the door, so the security guard in the security room didn't care. It was just that it was slightly strange to see him coming to the security room. The door of the security room was pushed open. The black muzzle was aimed at the security guard on duty in the security room. Before they could react to the situation, there was a bloody hole between everyone's eyebrows. After the black-shirt man killed the security guard in the security room, he put the pistol back into the satchel and quickly removed the hard drives in several monitoring devices. He was skilled like a professional thief. After putting the hard drives into the satchel, the black-shirt man went out of the security room and gently closed the door of the security room. He swaggered into the elevator and went up to the 36th floor. The speed of the elevator was naturally much faster than taking the stairs. After the black-shirt man came out of the elevator, he went straight to the direction of the chairman's office. The door of Sui Yuejin's office was not locked, but it was open. Sui Yuejin was lying in the boss's chair, covering his chest with his hand, while the secretary, Little Yu, stood anxiously by the side. The black-shirt man stepped into the door of the office, took out the pistol, and fired 2 fierce shots. 2 bloody holes appeared on Sui Yuejin's and Little Yu's heads. The black-shirt man was obviously very confident in his marksmanship. After shooting, he didn't check whether the target was killed. After putting away the gun, he didn't look at the 2 bodies in the room. Instead, he quickly took a bug from the chandelier in Sui Yuejin's office, put it in his satchel, and left the office without looking back. The whole action was done in one go without the slightest hesitation or pause. He took the elevator downstairs and walked to the reception room at the entrance of the first-floor building. "Have you taken the things? I will help you open the door." The security guard saw the black-shirt man go downstairs and enthusiastically picked up the key on the side. Bang! With a muffled sound, the security guard looked at the black-shirt man in front of him inconceivably. He didn't know when a black pistol appeared in his hand. He died with his eyes wide open. How did Yang Ming do it? Wang Kejin was puzzled, but one thing was certain. His master's uncle, Tombstone, appeared. It was unknown whether he could do this. Seeing that Yang Ming did not kill Sui Yuejin, Wang Kejin was slightly disappointed. He was about to act on his own, but he saw a black-shirt man walking quickly to the immortal building. Wang Kejin didn't know what this guy was doing. He could only hold back his footsteps and crawl into the darkness again. The black-shirt man and the security guard of the immortal building negotiated a few words. The security guard of the building opened the door and let him in. Wang Kejin was too far away. He couldn't hear what the two said. He didn't have Yang Ming's telescopic special ability. Even if he could read lips, he couldn't see clearly. Wang Kejin frowned. He didn't know who this black-shirt man was, and he didn't know what he was doing in the immortal building at this time. Although Wang Kejin could break into the immortal building now and kill the black-shirt man, he couldn't figure out whether the black-shirt man had companions nearby. He couldn't figure out the true identity of the black-shirt man, so Wang Kejin didn't act rashly. He could only wait for the black-shirt man to leave the immortal building before making a decision. However, the black-shirt man obviously came and went in a hurry. In less than 20 minutes after entering the building, he hurriedly left the door of the immortal building. He quickly got on a motorcycle on the side of the road and left. What made Wang Kejin suspicious was that when the black-shirt man left the immortal building, he opened the door himself. There was no security guard who wanted to send him out. When he left, no one locked the door of the immortal building. It was impossible not to explain the problem. Wang Kejin's heart tightened slightly. After the black-shirt man left, Wang Kejin turned off the camera that had been facing the entrance of the immortal building and put it in his handbag. As an assassin, Wang Kejin would carry cameras, and other monitoring equipment every time he went on a mission. He would place them at the places where the target often appeared to monitor the target's living habits. Therefore, this time when he came to the entrance of the immortal building, Wang Kejin also habitually placed the camera in the direction of the entrance of the immortal building. Fortunately, I have this habit. Wang Kejin was a little glad. After going back, he enlarged the video and let Master's uncle Tombstone see if he knew the black-shirt man in the video. At the beginning of the year, Wang Kejin had replaced his camera with a 1080p Full HD device, which meant that he could see some details more clearly. He believed that there would not be too much distortion after enlarging it. After putting away the camera, Wang Kejin quickly ran in the direction of the immortal building. He had to figure out as soon as possible what happened in the building after the black-shirt man went to the immortal building. When Wang Kejin stepped into the immortal building, a pungent smell of blood rushed to his face. The assassin was extremely sensitive to the smell of blood, so when Wang Kejin entered the door, he had already noticed that something was wrong. Looking sideways at the mailroom on the side, Wang Kejin suddenly frowned. The security guard who was originally on duty in the mailroom had a bloody hole between his eyebrows. The blood had already flowed everywhere from his head. The security guard in the mailroom is dead. No wonder when the black-shirt man came out, no security guard wanted to send him off. It turns out that he was killed. So, which side does the black-shirt man belong to? This made Wang Kejin suddenly confused. Yang Ming did not kill Sui Yuejin, so it was impossible to send someone to kill Sui Yuejin after he left. There was no need to do such a thing. Therefore, Yang Ming's suspicion was directly ruled out by Wang Kejin. So, if it was not Yang Ming, who could it be? Could it be Sui Yuejin's enemy? Wang Kejin was confused. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? Since the security guard on duty at the door is dead, and there is no response from the security room, then, that is to say. Thinking of this, Wang Kejin quickly ran in the direction of the security room. The door of the security room was open. Before he reached the door of the security room, the bloody smell drifted over again. This made Wang Kejin's guess become a fact. The security guard in the security room was also killed. He quickly stepped into the security room and looked inside. Sure enough, the 3 security guards were lying in a pool of blood. According to Wang Kejin's visual estimation, several people had no signs of life. They were obviously dead. Wang Kejin shook his head. This black-shirt man's marksmanship was really good. Not only was it fast, but it was also accurate. Looking at the injuries of these security guards, they were all killed with one shot. Although Wang Kejin could do this, Wang Kejin was the most outstanding existence among the 3rd generation of the butterfly family. After checking the monitoring equipment, sure enough, the hard disk used for recording had been removed. Obviously, it was done by the black-shirt man because Yang Ming didn't need to remove the hard disk at all. When Yang Ming left the immortal building, the security guard at the door sent him off. That was to say, the security guard had seen Yang Ming's appearance. It was useless for Yang Ming to remove the hard disk. Wang Kejin shook his head and stepped out of the security room. However, before he walked out of the security room, Wang Kejin's gaze suddenly stopped on a file cabinet at the door. Wang Kejin took out the lily key that he carried with him from his backpack and opened the file cabinet. Seeing the things inside, Wang Kejin smiled slightly. Wang Kejin remembered a sentence that the instructor once said. That was, as an assassin, you must be very careful. An assassin was different from a theft group. After a theft group was caught, they would not be sentenced to death, but an assassin was different. After an assassin was caught, he would be sentenced to death. So in this way, an assassin must be very careful. When performing a task in a place with monitoring, the hard disk and the computer in the monitoring room must be removed afterward. Moreover, one must be wary of whether there was a data backup device in the monitoring room. In a place like the Immortal Building, in order to prevent any accidents, there would generally be a data backup computer. Because the computer hard disk for real-time monitoring was in a state of constantly reading and recording at every moment, the magnetic head of the hard disk was working at full capacity all the time, which also reduced the service life of the hard disk. In other words, the hard disk could be broken at any time. In order to prevent this kind of accident, the company responsible for installing the monitoring video would generally set up a data backup machine. That was to say, every once in a while, the monitoring machine would transmit the data to the backup machine for backup. In this way, even if the hard disk in the monitoring machine was broken, there would still be backup data in the backup machine. It would not be impossible to find the monitoring data after a problem occurred. The black-shirt man before, although his technique was fierce, obviously did not think of this. In fact, there were very few companies in China that would adopt this approach. It was normal for the black-shirt man not to notice. However, when Wang Kejin was performing a task, he had to take precautions in advance in any situation. It was a habit. Every time Wang Kejin removed the hard disk of the monitoring host in the monitoring room, he would recheck the other locations in the monitoring room to see if there was a host for data backup. Generally speaking, the host used for backup would not be too far away from the monitoring machine. It might be placed next to it. The backup machine of the Immortal Building was indeed placed next to it, but it was placed in the cabinet next to it. The black-shirt man before obviously ignored this. He did not expect that there would be a backup machine in the file cabinet. There was actually a reason why Wang Kejin noticed this file cabinet. Previously, Wang Kejin had seen something similar in a foreign company. This was not a file cabinet. It was a computer cabinet, but the appearance was similar to a file cabinet. If Wang Kejin hadn't inadvertently discovered this secret during the previous mission, he would have suffered a loss. Therefore, this time, after Wang Kejin saw a similar file cabinet in the Immortal Building, he must open it to see what it was. Sure enough, there is a backup machine. Wang Kejin carefully cut off the power of the machine, then opened the case, took out the hard disk inside, and put it in his bag. Wang Kejin left the security room of the Immortal Building. In fact, it was not important to go upstairs. Since this black-shirt man killed all the security guards in the mailroom and the security guards in the security room, then Sui Yuejin's chance of survival was almost zero. However, to be on the safe side, Wang Kejin decided to go upstairs and take a look personally. He got on the elevator and quickly came to the door of the chairman's office on the 36th floor. The unconcealable smell of blood also proved Wang Kejin's guess. Looking inside, Sui Yuejin was already dead. Beside him, there was a young man. It seemed that he was either Sui Yuejin's follower or a secretary driver. After Wang Kejin took a picture of the scene with his camera, he quickly left the Immortal Building. Although he did not know who killed Sui Yuejin, since someone did it for him, Wang Kejin was relieved. It did not matter who killed him. The key was to silence him. Sui Yuejin was dead, and there were some things that could not be verified. Wang Kejin estimated that the police should be coming, so he quickly left the Immortal Building and returned to Songjiang to report to his master's tombstone. Shortly after Yang Ming entered the Jingsong Expressway, a Buick commercial vehicle also entered the Jingsong Expressway from the Mount Jing toll booth and headed in the direction of Songjiang. The driver in the car was a young man in his 30s. His face was a little pale, apparently the result of not seeing the sun for a long time. "How is it? Is it successful?" asked the young man. "Oh, he should be called the young military advisor. Very successful." The thin and tall man called the boss was the black-shirted man who had just entered the Immortal Building. "But Sui Yuejin is just a chess piece. It doesn't matter whether he is killed or not. Did you get the surveillance video?" The young military advisor did not answer the black-shirted man's question but just asked. "I got it." The black-shirted man nodded, but his tone was a little unhappy. Although the two were in a cooperative relationship, the young military advisor had to rely on himself if he wanted to succeed. Although he could give advice, he had never succeeded from the beginning to the end. "Hee, don't blame me for not telling you clearly. Because it was too sudden, I just made a preliminary plan in my mind. Now, I have some ideas." The young military advisor said, "I asked you to kill Sui Yuejin for a reason. It is not just because I am afraid that Yang Ming will instigate him. After Yang Ming went, he could intimidate and threaten Sui Yuejin. Naturally, he could achieve the purpose of instigate Sui Yuejin, but this has no effect on us. Because even if Sui Yuejin is instigated, he is only targeting Tianlong. Tianlong is no longer of much use to us. Now it seems that although Chu Daiming and Lu Chan emptied the funds of Yang Ming's company, they did not hurt Yang Ming. Because Bao Sanli and Lu Chan discovered it in time, it did not have much impact on the company's reputation. Letting Tianlong kidnap Yang Ming, I didn't have any hope from the beginning because it was not realistic. With Yang Ming's skill, how can he be easily caught? So Tianlong is just a chess piece to confuse Yang Ming and distract Yang Ming. The real move has not been made yet. However, now there is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in front of us. After I straightened out my thoughts, I feel that this method is still very feasible." "What opportunity?" Hearing the young military advisor's explanation, the black-shirted man felt a little more comfortable, but he still didn't understand what the young military advisor was referring to. "What does this have to do with killing Sui Yuejin?" The Immortal Building is the landmark building of Mount Jing, and the Immortal Group is also the largest company in Mount Jing. What do you think the police of Mount Jing will do when their chairman, Sui Yujin, is dead? Asked the young military advisor. Of course, it is to solve the case as soon as possible, but you can rest assured that my method of committing the crime, humph. The black-shirt man smiled conceitedly. I will kill those who should be killed. Even if someone sees me, it is just this human skin mask. On the black-shirt man's face, he always wore a human skin mask. It was said to be a high-tech product that could fit according to the original face shape of the person and automatically generate a new face. The young military advisor was still in awe of the black-shirt man, so he did not dare to ask him about the human skin mask. Of course, I am not afraid that you will leave any flaws for the police. The young military advisor waved his hand. I mean, before Sui Yujin died, Yang Ming went to the Immortal Building. You mean this surveillance video? The black-shirt man was not stupid. After listening to the young military advisor's words, he immediately thought of what the young military advisor was going to do. That's right. The young military advisor sneered twice. With this evidence, we are not afraid of not killing Yang Ming. Even if he is not the murderer, he will be arrested as a suspect. Over time, we will use some means to let him die in the detention center. It is not difficult. You know, the wardens and bullies in there are all my buddies. Good method. The black-shirt man praised after listening. Why didn't you tell me before? Previously, there were many things that I had to confirm personally, such as the location of the surveillance camera and some details, said the young military advisor. The surveillance video can't be left in the monitoring machine of the Immortal Building. The part where you kill must be removed. In other words, it must be edited by us. In this way, the authenticity of the video time will be doubted. Isn't there a display of the time on the screen of the surveillance video? How can it be doubted? Asked the black-shirt man. After we edit the video, it is not difficult to put the time and date on it, right? Therefore, the evidence produced in this way will definitely be doubted by the police, and the purpose of framing Yang Ming will not be achieved, explained the young military advisor. Chapter 1236. But now these are not problems because there is a large electronic perpetual calendar on every floor of the Immortal Building. Not only does it show the current time, but it also shows the date. With this unchangeable evidence, the police have no choice but to believe it. The young military advisor said, moreover, the time you killed Sui Yujin was immediately after Yang Ming left the Immortal Building. The time when Yang Ming appeared on the surveillance screen and the time when Sui Yujin died were no more than 10 minutes. When the forensic doctor determines the time of death, this small error is no longer a problem. At that time, Yang Ming won't be able to defend himself. The black-shirt man nodded in appreciation. It seems that I really didn't find the wrong person. This young military advisor still has a lot of bad ideas in his mind. He can even think of such a sinister trick. Your idea is very good. Kill with a borrowed knife. If it really succeeds, I will let you enjoy endless glory and wealth. The young military advisor sighed slightly. In fact, this trick of framing people was first used by the young master, but unfortunately, what's wrong? The black-shirt man didn't ask much about the young military advisor. The two people had hatred for each other, and they had a common enemy to deal with the same target, Yang Ming. Therefore, they came together. Now, because the young military advisor thought of a wonderful idea, the black-shirt man was in a good mood. However, he saw that the young military advisor's tone was a little sad, so he couldn't help but ask casually. Yang Ming escaped by a fluke, but the young master died an unnatural death. The young military advisor gritted his teeth fiercely. Yang Ming, see if I will play you to death this time. The black-shirt man nodded silently. It seems that this young military advisor is also a person who values friendship and righteousness. However, this time, although we have a lot of unfavorable evidence against Yang Ming, the police are not fools. It is impossible to identify Yang Ming as a murderer casually, the black-shirt man said with concern. Moreover, the father of Yang Ming's girlfriend is the acting director of the Songjiang City Bureau. How can he sit idly by? The murder happened in Mount Jing. Naturally, the police in Mount Jing will be responsible for it. The young military counselor said, moreover, I don't need the police to determine whether he killed Sui Yuejin in the end. As long as he enters the detention center, I am confident that I can take his life. With Yang Ming's skills, he won't be bullied so easily. The man in black said, it's not his first time in the detention center. When he was in the detention center, he almost crippled one of the bosses there. The young military advisor frowned. He didn't think so much. In his opinion, 2 fists couldn't beat 4 hands. As long as a group of prisoners surrounded him, he wouldn't be afraid of not being able to kill him. However, the current situation seemed to be a little unexpected. But even so, the young military advisor was not too worried. There would always be a way. And this time, he was confident that he could turn Yang Ming into a murderer. The young military advisor had already prepared the hatred between Yang Ming and Sui Yuejin. At the class reunion, Yang Ming and Sui Guangqi competed for a woman. This was not a secret. The young military advisor believed that as long as this news was released, it would be another matter whether the father of Yang Ming's girlfriend could still control Yang Ming. Wang Kejin returned to the Huashang district, Tombstone's residence. Did you kill him? Tombstone saw Wang Kejin coming back and asked calmly. This kind of mission without any difficulty should be a piece of cake for Wang Kejin. Tombstone asked Wang Kejin casually because he didn't believe that Wang Kejin would fail the mission. To Tombstone's surprise, Wang Kejin shook his head. His face was a little pale. No. No. Is there a problem? Tombstone was also surprised. This mission is not difficult, right? Yes, there is a big problem. Wang Kejin sighed. Shortly after Yang Ming left, another black-shirt man entered the immortal building before I could act. I couldn't figure out his origin, so I could only lurk near the building and wait for him to come out before making a plan. However, after he came out, I entered the building again. Sui Yuejin had already been killed. What? Tombstone's face also became weird. Is there such a coincidence? In other words, Sui Yuejin was killed by the black-shirt man. It should be like this. Wang Kejin nodded. Why did the current Wang Kejin have a feeling that misfortune never comes singly? After coming to Songjiang, everything was not going well. First, the mission to assassinate Yang Ming failed. This was excusable. However, Sui Yuejin's mission was a bit bad. Although the target was dead, he didn't know who killed him. Are there any clues? Asked Tombstone. At the entrance of the immortal building, I have recorded it from a distance. I don't know if it can be seen clearly after zooming in, said Wang Kejin. However, I found a monitoring backup in the monitoring room of the immortal building. I have already removed the hard disk inside. I don't know if there is any valuable information in it. In any case, Sui Yuejin is dead. Although I don't know which party did it, it has no effect on us. Tombstone said, don't worry about it. This is nothing. Don't worry, Masters Jr. I won't think too much about it. Wang Kejin nodded. In a while, you go and pour out the video and the hard disk. I will see if that person is from the assassin world. Tombstone said, you haven't eaten yet, right? Let's eat something together first. In Wang Kejin's camera, the black-shirt man's face was clearly recorded. However, after Tombstone saw it, he shook his head. This person looks very ordinary. I have never seen him before. Since Tombstone had never seen a person before, Wang Kejin had never seen him before. On the hard disk of the backup machine, the scene of the black-shirt man entering the building and breaking into the security room to kill was missing because the backup machine was only synchronized with the monitoring machine after a period of time. This situation meant that the monitoring machine had not had time to synchronize with the backup machine, and the black-shirt man removed the hard disk in the monitoring machine. However, although the black-shirt man could not be seen before entering the building and coming to the security room, it clearly recorded that the black-shirt man walked out of the security room, took the elevator to the 36th floor, and entered Sui Yuejin's room to shoot. Because the hard disk of the monitoring machine was removed, the backup machine lost contact with the monitoring machine. The computer program in the backup machine determined that the monitoring machine had malfunctioned, so it directly took over the monitoring machine's authority. The backup machine began to monitor the entire immortal building. A camera on the 30th floor was facing the door of the chairman's office. The whole process of the black-shirt man shooting Sui Yuejin was recorded. Sure enough, he did it. Wang Kejin breathed a sigh of relief. The black-shirt man's killing action was done in one go. Before the killing, he did not say anything to Sui Yuejin. In this way, he did not have to worry about the butterfly family's broken promise spreading. The only thing that was unclear was which faction the black-shirt man represented. Why would he appear in the immortal building after Yang Ming left and carry out a large-scale massacre, leaving no survivors in the building? Keep this video first. If I have time to go back to Europe, I will show it to the family master, said Tombstone. Yes, then I will intercept all the videos of the black-shirt man in my camera and the backup machine's hard disk and burn them into a disk, said Wang Kejin. When Yang Ming returned to Songjiang, it was already past 1:00 in the morning. At this time, if he returned to the Huashang district, it would affect the rest of Qin Mengyan and others. He had promised Xiao Qing to look for her, but because of many accidents, he could not fulfill it. Yang Ming hesitated and decided to go back to the school dormitory for one night. He didn't know how Tian Donghua was doing. Yang Ming called a few more times, but it was still turned off. Because Yang Ming had a school pass, he could drive into the school campus no matter how late it was. At 1:00 in the morning, most students had already entered Dreamland. In the huge campus, except for a few graduate student dormitory buildings that were still lit up, the rest of the place was dark. Only the bathroom on each floor of the dormitory building was bright. Under the dim yellow streetlights, Yang Ming drove slowly. Although it was early spring and the weather was still a little cold, who could guarantee that there were not a few passionate men and women in this school who were having sex on campus? If he accidentally crushed someone, it would not be good. On the path to the dormitory area, Yang Ming suddenly saw a figure not far ahead. It was walking forward quickly. Judging from the back, it was a girl, and her figure was a little familiar. The girl might be afraid at night, so she didn't dare to walk on the side of the road. Instead, she walked in the middle of the road. Although the security in the school was very good, who could guarantee that there was no one who climbed over the wall? Or it could be a pervert who lurked in the campus during the day and came out to commit crimes at night. Didn't Ho Xinhan come to the school to rob? Therefore, Yang Ming could also understand the girl's mood at the moment. Yang Ming wanted to honk the car horn and ask her to move, but he just put his hand on the horn and let go. At this moment, in the middle of the night, there was no sound on campus. If Yang Ming honked, it might wake up many students who had already entered their dreams. Yang Ming didn't want to do this kind of wicked and annoying thing. When Qi Jida and Xia Wenjin pressed the horn crazily in the school, they were taught a lesson by Yang Ming. Yang Ming naturally couldn't do such a thing. Thinking of these two scums, Yang Ming thought of Shin Yushi again, the girl who worked as a waitress in the Nightless Club. I don't know how she has recovered at this moment. can she stand up and walk? Although Qijita, Xia Wenjin, and Lu Zhaojun all got the punishment they deserved, the punishment couldn't make up for the harm to this girl. Yang Ming sighed slightly. He had heard a lot about Shin Yushi recently. Yang Ming didn't deliberately deny the rumors in the Nightless Club. Now, even Bao Sanli thought that Shin Yushi and Yang Ming had some ambiguous relationship, let alone the other members of the Nightless Club. Therefore, with this layer of relationship, there was an endless stream of people who went to the hospital to visit Shin Yushi. Even many people who didn't belong to the Nightless Club and belonged to Ming Yang Entertainment brought gifts to visit Shin Yushi. The fundamental reason why Yang Ming didn't explain or deny it was because he wanted Shin Yushi to get more care. Maybe this way, she would be happier. As for those rumors, Shin Yushi didn't care. Why would Yang Ming deny it? Although Yang Ming hadn't visited her after returning to Songjiang, Bao Sanli had already reported to him about Shin Yushi's recent situation. Thinking of these past events, Yang Ming slowly followed behind the girl in front of him. Since there was no way to overtake her and he couldn't honk, Yang Ming could only follow her and wait until she entered the female dormitory in front of her. After Jing Xiaolu finished the work at hand, she looked at her watch. It was already past 12:00 in the middle of the night. She didn't expect to be busy for so long. This afternoon, when Jing Xiaolu was in class at school, she received a call from the leader of the department, telling her that the company had an accident. The two vice presidents had absconded. The chairman, Ho Jinhan, and the general manager, Guo Jianchao, were going to hold a staff meeting. Jing Xiaolu must attend. In fact, Jing Xiaolu could have called Ho Jinhan to ask for leave, and the department leader also knew about Jing Xiaolu's relationship. However, the reason why he called Jing Xiaolu was nothing more than a formality. Guo Jinchao's original words were to inform those who were running business outside or those who were on leave. At 3:00 in the afternoon, all of them would have a meeting in the company's conference room. Jing Xiaolu was already very relaxed and free in the company because of her relationship with Yang Ming. She only went to the company when there was no class, and she could go back to school at other times. Therefore, when the company had an accident, Jing Xiaolu didn't want to be special. So, she hurriedly asked for leave from the school teacher, stopped a taxi, and rushed to the company for a meeting. With such a big incident in the company, the first thing that the company's top management had to do was to stabilize the people's hearts. Only when the employees in the company were not in chaos could the matter end beautifully. However, most employees knew the background of Ming Yang Entertainment, so they were not worried about the company's accident this time. In their opinion, the two vice presidents who escaped would be caught sooner or later. After the meeting, it was time for each department to check the accounts and fill in the reports. This was supposed to be done at the end of every year, but it was now mentioned. So, for a while, each department was busy. Jing Xiaolu naturally joined in. Although she had a special relationship, she didn't want to be a maverick. She was lazy when others were working, so she wouldn't do this kind of thing. Although others wouldn't say anything, they would feel uncomfortable in their hearts. But now, she also worked with everyone. Others felt that Jing Xiaolu was really good. Although she had a relationship with the boss, she was approachable. Jing Xiaolu now gave everyone such an impression, so when she often asked for leave to go back to school, no one gossiped. Instead, they felt that this little girl was hardworking. When she was completely done, it was already 12:00 when she looked at the watch. Jing Xiaolu secretly complained. The dormitory should have been locked long ago, right? If I go back at this time, can I still knock on the door of the dormitory building? She refused the proposal of her colleagues to have a meal together. Jing Xiaolu stopped a taxi and hurried back to school. Because taxis were not allowed to enter the school campus, Jing Xiaolu got off at the school gate and walked in the direction of the dormitory building. Not long after, Jing Xiaolu felt two beams of light coming from behind her. They were like headlights. Jing Xiaolu quickly quickened her pace and instinctively moved to the side of the road, wanting the car to pass by her. Yang Ming also saw Jing Xiaolu's move, but the road was very narrow. It was a one-way lane. Yang Ming's car was wide, so although Jing Xiaolu moved to the side, she didn't completely move to the side. Yang Ming still didn't dare to simply overtake her. If he scratched Jing Xiaolu, the loss would outweigh the gain. Anyway, Yang Ming was not in a hurry. Jing Xiaolu moved aside, but the car behind did not overtake her. The car behind did not honk. It just followed behind Jing Xiaolu at a steady speed. Jing Xiaolu's heart suddenly tightened. She had heard a lot of robberies at night, and Yang Ming's current driving speed was suspicious and strange. How could Jing Xiaolu not be afraid? Especially at night, Yang Ming turned on the car lights. Even if Jing Xiaolu turned back, she couldn't see the model of the car, the license plate, and the person sitting in the driver's seat. Therefore, after Yang Ming followed her for a long time, Jing Xiaolu finally collapsed. "Ah!" Jing Xiaolu screamed. The shrill voice was particularly harsh in the quiet campus. Yang Ming naturally heard Jing Xiaolu scream. He subconsciously stopped the car, opened the door, and jumped out. As for Jing Xiaolu, when she heard the sound of the car door opening behind her, she was even more scared. She ran without looking back. Previously, when Jing Xiaolu turned back, Yang Ming had already recognized Jing Xiaolu. He was wondering why Jing Xiaolu was still wandering around the campus so late at night. Before he had time to open the window to ask, Jing Xiaolu shouted inexplicably and rushed forward. This made Yang Ming even more confused. He didn't know what happened to her. However, Yang Ming still subconsciously chased after her. Jing Xiaolu heard footsteps behind her. She knew that the person in the car had jumped out and chased after her. She was even more scared. Her heart almost jumped out of her throat. She ran forward desperately. However, Jing Xiaolu was not good at sprints and long-distance running. Although Yang Ming was running behind her, the distance between them was getting closer and closer. Jing Xiaolu was about to cry. Why am I so unlucky, thinking of all the things after being caught, being molested, insulted, and killed. Jing Xiaolu was about to collapse. She knew that she couldn't outrun the person behind her. In desperation, she couldn't help but shout, "Yang Ming, save me." Chapter 1237. At the most critical moment, people often think of the person who can protect them the most. When they were young, they would think of their parents. When they became adults, they would think of their partners. When Jing Xiaolu was a young girl, she would naturally think of the person she admired in her heart. Moreover, Yang Ming did have enough strength to protect her. Yang Ming helped her resolve several times when she was in danger. Therefore, naturally, Jing Xiaolu called out Yang Ming's name, "Yang Ming, save me." Yang Ming, who was chasing behind Jing Xiaolu, didn't know what trouble Jing Xiaolu was in. He didn't know why she suddenly ran away. At this time, he heard Jing Xiaolu shouting for help and calling out Yang Ming's name. Yang Ming couldn't help but be slightly stunned. Yang Ming didn't know how Jing Xiaolu recognized him. As a matter of fact, Jing Xiaolu had never looked back. Yang Ming was somewhat inexplicable. Could it be that Jing Xiaolu also has a special ability that allows her to see a 360-degree view like mine? Yang Ming didn't know what happened to Jing Xiaolu. He quickened his pace and caught up with Jing Xiaolu in a few steps. He grabbed her arm. He thought that this would give her enough sense of security, but he didn't expect Jing Xiaolu's reaction to be even more intense. "Let me go, save me, Yang Ming, come quickly." Jing Xiaolu desperately wanted to shake off Yang Ming's grip on her arm and screamed loudly. Yang Ming was dumbfounded when he heard Jing Xiaolu scream. He thought, I'm already here, and you're still asking me to come quickly. I grabbed your arm, and you're still asking me to let go of you. Why is it contradictory? Could it be that Jing Xiaolu has a mental problem? Jing Xiaolu, what are you doing? You asked me to save you, and you asked me to let go of you. What's going on? Yang Ming couldn't help but ask. Jing Xiaolu's scream stopped abruptly after Yang Ming's voice fell. She turned around and looked at Yang Ming incredulously. Why is it you? What do you mean why is it me? Didn't you call me? Yang Ming was confused by Jing Xiaolu's words. Jing Xiaolu looked at Yang Ming and then looked at the car parked not far away. She suddenly realized that she made a mistake. I thought that Yang Ming was the robber who followed me, and I actually called for Yang Ming to save me. Was it you who was driving behind me just now? Jing Xiaolu asked awkwardly, then why didn't you honk? Jing Xiaolu didn't expect to make such a big mistake. She blushed a little. It's so late at night. Wouldn't you wake up everyone in the school by honking? That's not very ethical, so I didn't honk. Yang Ming spread his hands and smiled bitterly. Did you misunderstand something? Yeah, it's so late. You were following me. I thought you were a bad guy. Of course, I was scared. Jing Xiaolu said with some grievance, it was so dark. I couldn't see clearly. Yang Ming broke into a sweat. No wonder Jing Xiaolu ran away after looking behind. Yang Ming thought that Jing Xiaolu had encountered other trouble. She turned around and recognized his car, so she called him for help. He didn't expect that Jing Xiaolu regarded him as a bad guy. Thinking that Jing Xiaolu actually called him for help, Yang Ming was really dumbfounded. Then why did you call me for help? Do you think I'm Superman? I can appear when you call. I did it subconsciously. Jing Xiaolu's face was slightly flushed. This feeling of blushing and heartbeat was something that she had never experienced before. She didn't know why, but when she saw Yang Ming, Jing Xiaolu's heart was nervous for no reason. When she couldn't see him, she would miss him. She had changed a lot of boyfriends in the past, but Jing Xiaolu only regarded them as a free worker or a free ATM that could be ordered around. She had never really liked anyone. Yang Ming was very clear about Jing Xiaolu's thoughts. Last time, Jing Xiaolu asked him to support her. Later, she dragged him to accompany her to go shopping. How could Yang Ming not know that Jing Xiaolu had such thoughts about him? However, Yang Ming only thought that Jing Xiaolu's thoughts were not love, but a kind of worship for the strong. Jing Xiaolu, a girl, had been in society for so many years. In order to protect herself from harm, Jing Xiaolu used all her strength and skills. She was already tired. When a person who could really protect her appeared in front of her, Jing Xiaolu would subconsciously want to treat this person as her support. She would even be supported regardless of her status. However, this was different from love. It was just the instinct of the weak to find support. Yang Ming didn't think about taking advantage of Jing Xiaolu. Although Jing Xiaolu without heavy makeup was very pleasing to the eye, and there was an indescribable charm between her eyebrows, which was very attractive, Yang Ming didn't want to be a stud horse. The current harem had already made him a little overwhelmed, so Yang Ming wouldn't think about doing anything with Jing Xiaolu. Today, after listening to Jing Xiaolu's words, Yang Ming was shocked to discover that Jing Xiaolu seemed to really have feelings for him. Only in this way, Jing Xiaolu would involuntarily call out Yang Ming's name in a dangerous situation. With this analysis, Yang Ming could also roughly understand Jing Xiaolu's thoughts, but so what if he understood? Yang Ming could only pretend that he didn't know. All the women who were with him had an unusual coincidence. They weren't together simply for lust, and Yang Ming wasn't the kind of man with pure lust. You really think of me as Superman and Ultraman? Yang Ming shrugged and changed the topic. Why did you come back so late? I live in the dormitory building over there. After Jing Xiaolu explained, she pointed to Yang Ming and said, he's from the computer department. Take out your student ID and let me see. The people from the campus security department obviously still didn't believe it. After all, it was late at night, and the dormitory door was locked. Wasn't it crazy to come out and date at this time? If it was summer, it would be excusable. When the campus security department patrolled at night in summer, it wasn't that they hadn't seen students having sex in the wild. Although they felt that it was a little inappropriate, they turned a blind eye to it. It was just that the weather in early spring was still very cold. Wasn't it looking for trouble to have a relationship outside at this time? Moreover, Yang Ming still drove the BMW and came to the school. Could it be that he was a member of society who came to the school to find a female student for support? Although the school did not object to couples between students, the school did not allow members of society to come to the school to find female students for support. These were two concepts. One was free love, and the other was breaking the law. Jing Xiaolu took out her student ID from her bag and handed it to the people from the campus security department. The people from the campus security department opened it and looked at it. After confirming that Jing Xiaolu was indeed a student from the school's art department, they returned the student ID to Jing Xiaolu and said to Yang Ming, "Where's your student ID?" "Mine. I didn't bring it." Yang Ming broke into a sweat. "My student ID was in the villa in Huashang district. Because I just went to Africa, I couldn't carry my student ID with me, right? After coming back, I didn't go back to the villa, so I naturally didn't carry my student ID." "You're not a student of the school?" Seeing that Yang Ming didn't have a student ID, the people from the campus security department were even more suspicious of Yang Ming's identity. "Wait. My identity is written on the back of the pass on my car." Yang Ming suddenly remembered that the pass on his car had his class information. "Show it to us." The people from the campus security department nodded to Yang Ming. It was fine to have the information on the pass. The student's pass wasn't as easy as that of the faculty. The faculty's pass didn't require the car owner to be the same person as the faculty who applied for the pass. The spouse and relatives could also apply. However, the student's vehicle pass was very strict. It must be a vehicle registered under the student's name to apply for a vehicle pass. This was also to prevent students from using their own identity to apply for passes for members of society. Therefore, the campus security department also approved that Yang Ming could show the information on the pass. Yang Ming took the pass and handed it to the person from the campus security department to check. The person from the campus security department glanced at the registration information behind the pass and saw that it was registered under the name of a student. Then, he looked at the photo on Yang Ming's driver's license and verified Yang Ming's identity. He nodded and returned the pass to Yang Ming. However, when the pass was returned to Yang Ming's hand, the pass separated from the middle and became two passes. It turned out that the two passes were stacked together for a long time and stuck together. "Hey!" The person from the campus security department was stunned and found that the following pass was also a campus vehicle pass, and the car number on it was the same. He was suddenly stunned. He thought it was fake, but when he saw the anti-counterfeiting sign on it, he couldn't help but have some doubts. Where did this come from? Why do you have two passes? Yang Ming just remembered that one of the passes was helped by Lu Weishan because last year's pass was helped by Lu Weishan for Zhang Bin's car. The purpose was to allow him to go in and out of the family area with Lan Ling. This year, he also helped him get one for himself. However, when Lu Weishan helped Yang Ming with the pass, Yang Ming also used his student ID to apply for one. Yang Ming just casually stacked the two passes together and forgot about it later. Now, he suddenly remembered. This one was helped by my godfather. He is a professor in the school. Yang Ming quickly explained. The person from the campus security department looked at the information behind the other pass and found that the applicant was indeed a person from the school, and he was a celebrity. It turned out to be the vice principal, Lu Weishan. He was shocked and no longer doubted. He quickly returned the 2 passes to Yang Ming and said, "Sorry for wasting your time, it's nothing." Yang Ming waved his hand and said, "You are also serious and responsible. However, now the dormitory is locked. You definitely can't go in. You should think about how to rest in a while." The person from the campus security department knew Yang Ming's identity, so he naturally spoke more politely. He thought for Yang Ming and said, "Why don't we have a room in the campus security department? We can clean one up for you." He subconsciously identified Jing Xiaolu as Yang Ming's girlfriend. Since the 2 of them went out for a date and returned to the school, they obviously didn't book a room outside. Otherwise, they definitely wouldn't return to the school so late at night. If they didn't book a room, it meant that Yang Ming hadn't succeeded yet. The security guards were also young people. Naturally, they knew the thoughts of young student couples, so they also thought of ways to create an opportunity for Yang Ming to push her down. In fact, the security guard also knew that with Yang Ming's identity, he could naturally knock on the dormitory door. He also said this to create an opportunity for Yang Ming. Yang Ming didn't doubt it. His dormitory building was a graduate student apartment. The door was not locked at night, and the power was not cut off, but the dormitories of other undergraduate students were not like this. The dormitory where Jing Xiaolu was now living was probably already locked, so the security guard's reminder was not wrong. Ah! The door is already locked. Although Jing Xiaolu showed some disappointment on the surface, she was already happy in her heart. Wouldn't I be able to stay in the same room with Yang Ming in a while? Yeah, it must be locked now. The security guard nodded firmly. You can only stay in the security building or find a hotel. Yang Ming could go in by himself, but he couldn't leave Jing Xiaolu alone. How would Jing Xiaolu, a girl, dare to stay in the security building with a group of men? It seemed unreasonable to let Jing Xiaolu go out and find a hotel by herself. She came back late because she was working for his company. Thinking of this, Yang Ming sighed helplessly and looked at Jing Xiaolu. What do you think? The security guard was really speechless about Yang Ming's question. Is he still a man? He looks handsome driving a luxury car. Why doesn't he know how to pick up girls? At this time, you should be more proactive. You tricked your girlfriend into going to the hotel. Why do you ask the girl's opinion? How can she say it? Indeed, although Jing Xiaolu was eager to be with Yang Ming, she was really embarrassed in front of so many security guards. If she was alone with Yang Ming, Jing Xiaolu was not afraid of anything. She would say whatever she thought. Wasn't it just chasing after him? What was there to be afraid of? You are not used to living in the security building. However, Jing Xiaolu was smart. She also expressed her own thoughts in a sentence. She still maintained a reserved manner so that others would not look down on her. Then, let's stay in a hotel. Yang Ming naturally felt that it was not right to leave Jing Xiaolu alone in the security building, so Yang Ming decided to help Jing Xiaolu find a hotel. After settling her down, he would return to the school's dormitory. Under the strange gaze of the security guard, Yang Ming drove Jing Xiaolu out of the school. Hey, what kind of big shot is that godfather of yours? Why did the security guard's attitude toward you turn 180 degrees when he saw you? Jing Xiaolu asked impatiently as soon as she got in the car. What do you mean turn around? There is no such thing. Don't always look at others with colored glasses. Yang Ming glared at her. My godfather is Lu Weishan. Jing Xiaolu blinked. How is it not? He also helped you pick me up. He wanted to help you create an opportunity to sleep with me. Don't think that I can't see it. Yang Ming broke into a sweat. After listening to Jing Xiaolu's words, he almost pulled the steering wheel off. He widened his eyes. When did he help me pick you up? Let alone sleep with me. Chapter 1238. Why not? Jing Xiaolu snorted proudly. In school, although the dormitory manager locks the door every night, it is not impossible to open it. Think about it. If there is an emergency, how can she not open the door? A few days ago, a sister in our dormitory forgot the time because she was in the self-study room. As a result, when she looked up, it was already 11:30. The dormitory building closed at 10:30. She was more than an hour late, but she still opened the door. In fact, our dormitory manager is still very good. Oh, I see. Yang Ming nodded and turned the car around. Hey, what are you doing? Jing Xiaolu saw Yang Ming turn the car around and wondered, why are we going back again? Yeah, we are going back. Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu with an indescribable smile on his face. What are we going back for? He didn't know if Jing Xiaolu was stupid at this time or deliberately pretended not to hear Yang Ming's words. Sending you back to the dormitory. Since your sisters in the dormitory can go back, and your dormitory manager is very good, I believe she won't let you sleep on the street. Yang Ming said with a smile. Ugh. Ah. The original smile on Jing Xiaolu's face froze instantly. I was really too proud just now. In order to show my intelligence in front of Yang Ming, I said those words without thinking much. Now, I was too proud, and it was a tragedy. What's awe? Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu's current appearance and smiled. Didn't you come here to show off before? I'm not going back. As Jing Xiaolu said this, she brutally grabbed the steering wheel in Yang Ming's hand. Jing Xiaolu was not a fool. If this was during the day, she would not dare to do this. That was a joke with her life. But now, there were no cars on the road near the school. Jing Xiaolu only dared to do this after looking around. Okay, stop fooling around. Yang Ming stopped the car helplessly. I know you are very opinionated and smart, but you don't have to deliberately show off in front of me. I think it is too fake. Isn't there a reason for this? Why don't you see me showing off to others? Jing Xiaolu rolled her eyes and glanced at Yang Ming. Of course, I understand your thoughts. Yang Ming was a little helpless about Jing Xiaolu's approach. However, emotional matters need to be done step by step, right? If two people are not honest from the beginning and are always scheming to please each other, do you think such a relationship is reliable? Jing Xiaolu pouted, feeling a little wronged. Indeed, she was deliberately trying to please Yang Ming, but there was nothing wrong with that, right? Yes, what's wrong with that? The more Jing Xiaolu thought about it, the angrier she got. She snorted and said, then you think that when two people are in a relationship, they should be sincere to each other and show their true side to each other. They shouldn't deliberately try to guess each other's thoughts and cater to him, right? At least I think so. Yang Ming nodded, but he had a feeling of uneasiness. He always felt that Jing Xiaolu was a little too clever. She couldn't be convinced by his words all of a sudden. What did she mean by asking this now? Really? Jing Xiaolu suddenly showed a sly smile. Then, you still put in so much effort to figure out how to show your love to other women, and you even asked me to help you. Then, what is your behavior? Didn't you deliberately cater to her to please her? Don't deny it. If you don't think so, why don't you just give her a gift or tell her directly that you like her? Isn't it just a matter of a sentence? Why do you have to beat around the bush and be so dishonest? Jing Xiaolu's sudden questioning made Yang Ming a little speechless. He widened his eyes and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was simply spinning a cocoon around himself. He unknowingly fell into the trap set by Jing Xiaolu. Besides sighing at Jing Xiaolu's cleverness, Yang Ming really couldn't do anything about it. Well, you said so much. Isn't it because you don't want to go back to school? I will find a hotel for you, okay? Yang Ming couldn't argue, so he had to compromise. After I find a hotel for you, I will go back to the dormitory. And, what? Jing Xiaolu was stunned after listening to the second half of Yang Ming's sentence. You still want to go back? If I don't go back, am I going to live with you? Yang Ming glared at Jing Xiaolu. He didn't know what was in her little head. Am I so easily seduced? Oh. Jing Xiaolu blushed because of Yang Ming's straightforward questioning. She wasn't the kind of person who was shameless. The reason why she could say so many shameless words to Yang Ming was because of her admiration for Yang Ming. If it were another person, Jing Xiaolu wouldn't say so. At least, Jing Xiaolu wasn't even willing to hold hands with her previous boyfriends, let alone go further. In fact, Jing Xiaolu didn't know what she wanted to do. If Yang Ming really went to a hotel with her, Jing Xiaolu would be more frightened than Yang Ming. Jing Xiaolu only thought of the result, not the process. The result was that she became Yang Ming's woman. This was what Jing Xiaolu was happy to accept and facilitate, but the process. Jing Xiaolu was a little nervous. After all, she hadn't experienced it before. She really didn't know what to do when the time came. No, I worked so late in the company, and I haven't had dinner yet. My colleagues invited me to a dinner party. I was afraid that the school would be closed, so I rushed back. In the end, the school was still closed. Jing Xiaolu argued, I was scared by you just now, and I ran away. I was even hungrier. I want to eat. Yang Ming naturally knew that Jing Xiaolu didn't want to live with him, so she settled for the next best thing. He didn't expose her. The Jing Xiaolu in front of him made Yang Ming feel more and more interested. Not only was she different from the previous delinquent girl, but her mind was also very meticulous. To be honest, Yang Ming really lacked such a person to give advice. Although Sun Jia could do it, Yang Ming was unwilling to ask her a lot of things. In the final analysis, it was still male chauvinism. Sun Jia kept saying that the boyfriend she wanted must be better than her. How could Yang Ming be at a disadvantage in front of her? Jing Xiaolu was a suitable candidate. In time, she could definitely become a powerful assistant, but Jing Xiaolu was too utilitarian. She always wanted to deliberately create something. It wasn't that Yang Ming rejected this kind of woman who chased after a man. Zhou Jiejia also chased after him, but Zhou Jiejia was very shy. She wouldn't deliberately create the fact that she was Yang Ming's girlfriend in front of many people. Jing Xiaolu was a bit too eager for quick success, which made Yang Ming instinctively uncomfortable. It wasn't that Yang Ming still had opinions about Jing Xiaolu's previous image, but it was just that Jing Xiaolu's approach made Yang Ming somewhat uncomfortable. Yang Ming was a firm supporter of the patriarchal society. Therefore, Jing Xiaolu's approach seemed to be very smart, but in fact, she was the victim of her own cleverness. It made Yang Ming feel a sense of being controlled and restrained. With Jing Xiaolu's cleverness, she seemed to realize the problem, so she no longer asked for anything. In fact, Gu Xinyao was right. It was best to let nature take its course. Yang Ming shook his head with a bitter smile. When he came back from Mount Jing, he didn't eat anything. However, since he was alone, Yang Ming was too lazy to eat. He planned to sleep until tomorrow morning. However, since Jing Xiaolu was also hungry, Yang Ming could eat with her. Besides, Jing Xiaolu's intention was to let Yang Ming treat. How could Yang Ming not know? What do you want to eat? Asked Yang Ming. KFC. Jing Xiaolu thought about it and said. It's so late. Is KFC still open? I remember that it closed at 12 o'clock, right? There are still a few minutes until 12 o'clock. We can't make it. Yang Ming looked at the time and said. I know a restaurant that is open all night. Jing Xiaolu said, I will take you there. Okay, you lead the way. I will drive. Yang Ming nodded. Many girls liked fast food like KFC. It seemed that Jing Xiaolu was no exception. I will drive. It's very hard to lead the way, said Jing Xiaolu. You? Do you know how to drive? Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu with some surprise. Hee hee. Jing Xiaolu smiled proudly. She took out a driver's license from her bag and opened it in front of Yang Ming. A while ago, President Hope sent me to the driving school to take the test. It was a kind of fast driving school. It was a full-time driving school. I could take the test in a week. Yang Ming was a little angry. Ho Jinhan must have misunderstood something when he saw me and Jing Xiaolu eating together last time. After knowing that Jing Xiaolu didn't have a driver's license, he took the initiative to send her to learn in the name of the company. Presumably, it was also reimbursed by the company. Then you drive. Yang Ming opened the door, got out of the car, and exchanged positions with Jing Xiaolu. Jing Xiaolu got in the car and started the car. Jing Xiaolu also drove the company's car in the company, but the public cars for her employees were all Jetta, Santana, and the like. The best was just a Honda CR-V. Jing Xiaolu had not driven a BMW yet. Holding the steering wheel, Jing Xiaolu's heart was suddenly happy. When can I have my own BMW? But I have to rely on myself. I still have to wait a few years. I don't know if Yang Ming can give me one. Jing Xiaolu was having a beautiful dream, but she was interrupted by Yang Ming. What are you doing? Why aren't you driving? It turned out that after Jing Xiaolu started the car, she fell into a fantasy. The car was still parked on the side of the road. Seeing Jing Xiaolu giggling there, Yang Ming was naturally anxious. Oh, okay. Jing Xiaolu quickly put the gear in place and started the car. In the middle of the night in Songjiang, there were not many cars on the road. The road was almost unimpeded. Jing Xiaolu drove very excitedly. Yang Ming watched Jing Xiaolu drive with interest. At this moment, Jing Xiaolu had a different kind of beauty. With a simple outfit and a luxury car in hand, she looked like a strong woman in the upper class. From the corner of her eyes, Jing Xiaolu had already noticed that Yang Ming was paying attention to her. She was very happy in her heart. She thought that Yang Ming finally knew how to appreciate her. However, the good times didn't last long. Yang Ming was distracted by the urgent ringtone of the mobile phone. Yang Ming picked up the phone, and Jing Xiaolu was slightly disappointed. Yen Yen. Yang Ming looked at the caller ID, and he was a bit baffled. I don't know what Wang Xiaoyan wants in the middle of the night. Yang Ming, Wang Kejin just called me and said that Sui Yuejin is dead. Wang Xiaoyan lowered her voice and said. What? Dead? Yang Ming was suddenly shocked and almost dropped the phone. How did he die? I just reached an agreement with Sui Yuejin. I still expect to use his hand to mess with Tian Long so that I can take advantage of it. But I didn't expect that Sui Yuejin would die in just a few hours. He was killed with a gun. Wang Xiaoyan said. Wang Kejin went to find Sui Yuejin because he wanted to kill him. He was afraid that he would say something unfavorable to our family's assassin group. However, after you left the immortal building, another black-shirt man entered the building. According to Wang Kejin's judgment, the people in the building were killed by him. Yang Ming listened to Wang Xiaoyan's words and suddenly frowned. If Wang Kejin killed him, Yang Ming wouldn't say anything. After all, Wang Kejin did it to protect the family's interests. But how did a third party appear? Blackshirt man. Which force does this blackshirt man belong to? Why did he kill Sui Yuejin? You wait for me. I will come to you now. Yang Ming took a deep breath and said hurriedly. He must see Wang Kejin again. There were some things that he had to ask face to face. Inexplicably, another blackshirt man appeared. Yang Ming was a little depressed for no reason. Not now. Wang Xiaoyan flatly refused. Sister Xiaoying is at my house. I called you in the bathroom. Don't come over. Ah. Xiaoying is also there. Yang Ming was stunned. I met her at school today, and we came back together in the evening. Wang Xiaoyan said, I will tell you the details tomorrow. I have been in the bathroom for a long time. As Wang Xiaoyan's voice just fell, Xiaoying's voice came, Yan Yan, are you in the bathroom? Why did it take so long? Is everything okay? Ah. Sister Ying, I am washing my face. There are a few acne on my face. Wang Xiaoyan quickly explained, then lowered her voice and said to Yang Ming, I won't talk to you anymore. I am hanging up. Yang Ming heard that Zhao Ying was also at Wang Xiaoyan's house. It seemed that it was impossible to find Wang Xiaoyan tonight. He could only wait until tomorrow. Originally, Jing Xiaolu thought that Yang Ming was going to leave, so she was a little disappointed. However, when she heard Yang Ming's meaning, she was happy that he wouldn't go. The KFC that Jing Xiaolu mentioned was located near the seaside. There was a day and night greenhouse bathing area, so most of the nearby restaurants were open 24 hours. The KFC here, and the ones near the train station and the airport are all open 24 hours. However, there are more people near the train station, and the airport is too far away, so I came here. Jing Xiaolu parked the car in the parking lot in front of the KFC and said to Yang Ming. How do you remember so clearly? It seems that you often come here to eat. Yang Ming didn't expect Jing Xiaolu to know so much. That's right. Sister Xinyao used to invite me here to eat. Jing Xiaolu sighed. At that time, I didn't have my own money, and my family was very poor. It was rare for me to eat meat dishes. When Sister Xinyao saw it, she often brought me here to eat. Yang Ming nodded. He naturally understood Jing Xiaolu's bitterness. His family was not very rich in the past, but it was better than Jing Xiaolu. Even so, his father often ordered good dishes from the restaurant, but he was often reluctant to eat them. He left them all for himself to eat. Let's go. Let's go in. Yang Ming locked the car and walked into the KFC with Jing Xiaolu. It was already past 12 o'clock, but there were still nearly half of the diners here. It could be seen that there was a reason why this place was open 24 hours a day. I have a student card. It's very cheap. Jing Xiaolu took out her student ID and a discount card from her bag and shook it in front of Yang Ming. Although Jing Xiaolu was now working to make money, she was also very calculating. Of course, she wouldn't let go of this kind of discount. It should be known that the student card was cheaper than the coupon. Yang Ming glanced at the discount card in Jing Xiaolu's hand. It was the kind that was printed from the computer. He secretly thought that Jing Xiaolu was quite thoughtful. Jing Xiaolu showed her student ID and the discount card in her hand to order. Yang Ming only ordered a hamburger and cola set, plus a piece of original chicken nugget. Jing Xiaolu didn't order a hamburger, but she ordered sweets such as sundaes, egg tarts, and fries. After the two of them finished ordering, Jing Xiaolu rushed to find a seat on the couple's swing and sat down. But after sitting down, she suddenly remembered that Yang Ming didn't seem to like her. She quickly stood up and said to Yang Ming, "Let's change seats. We don't want to sit here." Seeing Jing Xiaolu's pitiful look, Yang Ming couldn't bear to say anything. "Just sit here. I think it's good here." After getting Yang Ming's approval, Jing Xiaolu was very happy, but she also understood Yang Ming's temper. That was, before making a decision in the future, she would first consult Yang Ming's opinion. As long as she showed a pitiful look, Yang Ming would most likely obey her. Just as Jing Xiaolu picked up the plate and stood up, a bald young man sat on the swing behind Jing Xiaolu, and then waved proudly to a girl not far away. "Xiao Hong, come here. I found a seat." For the bald young man's approach, Yang Ming frowned. Although this couple's swing was a public position, he and Jing Xiaolu were standing in front of this table. It was obvious that they were going to sit here. Anyone with eyes could see it. How could this bald young man not see it? Looking around, he found that there was only one couple's swing in the store. However, Yang Ming was too lazy to care about this kind of person who had no social ethics. He frowned and said to Jing Xiaolu, "Let's go to the side." If it were Jing Xiaolu's character in the past, she would have already exploded. When she first had a conflict with Yang Ming in the school cafeteria, it was because of the seating issue. But now, Jing Xiaolu had changed a lot. She was not as competitive as before. Although she hated the bald man to death in her heart, Yang Ming finally agreed to sit here, but they took it by force. But Jing Xiaolu didn't say much. She sat at the ordinary table next to Yang Ming. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.